Hey, hey, hey. Hey, squad. How are you doing?
Hey.
Hey.
I'm so excited about this show. We got Mr. Darren Hill. We got his queen, Mrs. Cannon Hill. We have Mrs. Understanding, aka Raven, and Mrs.
Hi.
Shovo. And of course, your girl, Ashley. How's
Hey,
everybody?
y'all.
All right, I am so excited about this show. As usual, we got some good topics coming up. But before we get started, I need those of you who are watching to hit the like button and share, call a friend, text a friend. We need some more people on this live stream to make it even hotter. We want to hear from the people. We want to get some feedback and have some great conversation. All right. So we're going to jump right in like we always do. Welcome to the ladies' room. If you are not familiar, like I said, go ahead, like and subscribe. And our first question for tonight, this is going to be interesting. To what extent are you responsible for your partner's sexual satisfaction? To what extent are you responsible for your partner's satisfaction? This question was actually given to me by our lovely Cannon. Cannon, can you explain where the motivation for this came from? And before we actually start, I'm sorry, y'all. Before we start, I want to bring on a special guest who I'm so excited about. It is Tony, Mr. Tony.
What's up? What's going on?
How are you, Tony?
Good. How you doing?
All right.
All
Do you
right.
share a little bit about yourself?
A little bit about me. I know Kenan. I know Darwin. Me and Kenan used to work together at T-Mobile years ago, and since then I got into real estate. I'm actually a firefighter in Dallas, and I don't know what the dynamic of the show is. So let me know if I'm doing anything wrong. Just I don't know. Just ready to participate. So let's do it.
Okay, I'm excited. Oh, and here we have Mr. Rashad. Hey, Rashad, how are you?
Hey, Rashad.
What's up, everybody? How you guys doing? Good seeing you. Sorry I'm late.
Hey.
No problem. All right, y'all. Welcome to the Ladies Room podcast. We are so excited for this show. For those of you who are new, I want you all to go ahead, like and subscribe, share it with a friend, call a friend, text a friend, and get some more people on this live stream because we're talking about some good stuff tonight, y'all. Let's start with our first conversation. To what extent are you responsible for your partner's sexual satisfaction? Mrs. Cannon Hill suggested this question. And Cannon, I want you to just explain the background to this question or your motivation for it.
Okay, well, I think we have a lot of conversation surrounding monogamy, long-term relationships, marriage, and all of these other things. And I just think that that's a very important aspect of it to discuss. I feel like it gets left out of the conversation a lot of times, and we don't really have a lot of transparent conversations regarding those types of things. So if we're going to talk about marriage and being married for the rest of your life and all these other things and being monogamous and everything, then I feel like we need to, discuss all the ins and outs of it.
All right. I like that.
Yep.
All right. So who likes to go first? To what extent are you responsible for your partner's sexual satisfaction? I want to go ahead and start with Raven today. What do you think?
I'd say if on a scale of 1 to 10, maybe 8, I would say, because your boundaries may not be the same as others, and you're open to the things you like. So if you want to go to a special club to see certain things, I'm not going to stop you. You're open to that. If that's, as long as it's not degrading or anything, or as long as it's not anything immoral, then, it's all right.
All right. What do you think? What do you think, Darwin?
I'm 99.999% responsible for my partner's sexual satisfaction. And I say this because it's my job to please the booty, right? It's my civic duty to please the booty. So I have to find it upon me to do what I have to do to please her, and likewise, right? So I say 99. I don't say 100 because, of course, it's going to be some things that, you know, if I didn't want to experiment longer, she have to just, you know, tell me what she wants and tell me how she wants it. So that's the little input that she would have in that. But I think ultimately it's my responsibility to figure out and maneuver how I need to maneuver, learn her body language when we're having sex, even before sex, foreplay. Just do everything that she's comfortable with until she says no or yay or, you know. So I don't think well, me personally, I'm not going to have a limit on what I would do with my wife, you know. So yeah, I just think it's just my responsibility just to push the envelope with everything that we need to do, especially being committed and wanting to stay with this forever. You know, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot of things that we're going to dive into later on in our marriage. You know, I don't know what's, you know, I'm not a big I'm not that open with all the sexual stuff yet, but I'm pretty sure, you know, we go get bored enough. We might dibble and dabble in some stuff. I don't know. I'm just saying, you know, I don't know what the future holds in the bedroom with us. You know, I just got my personal fantasies. And then when she gets bored, she'll tell me about her personal fantasies and we'll just go from there. But, you know, I think as the man and the one that's doing all the stroking, you know, I think it's, you know, 99.999.
All right. What do you think, Mrs. Cannon? I'll let you reply to that.
Oh my goodness. I knew he was gonna be a wild boy with that one. But yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of what he said. I think that, you know, about, like he said, 99 to, you know, 99% at least responsible. That's why I think sexual compatibility is so important, you know, because you don't necessarily, I would think that it would be really difficult to be with a partner whose sexual appetite is so far outside of the realm of things that you're either comfortable with or like compatibility as far as sex drive and things like that. I would think that would cause a lot of problems if you guys are that incompatible. So I think it's important to have some type of compatibility. And then outside of that, I think it's totally your responsibility. Like it's a very important part of adulthood. You know what I mean? It's I'm sure Miss Jovo gonna get all, you know, scientific with it and everything like that. But I mean, it releases all types of endorphins and it builds connection. You know, if you're trying to stay with somebody for a long time. So it's important that you're cultivating that and that you're very intentional about it, because it's not always easy. You know what I mean? It's not always the easiest thing to pay attention to and put time, energy, and effort into, but you have to be mindful of it and you have to be like so intentional about it. So I think it's a huge responsibility of yours. Like if you're having some issues or something that's going on, then I think that you should really take it seriously and try to figure out how to get on the same page.
Okay. I definitely have a couple questions for you guys, but I want to hear from the others on the panel. Mr. Rashad, what do you think?
All right, on a scale of 1 to 10, how responsible are you? 1,000. That's how responsible you are. I say be freak nasties. My rule of thumb is, hey, don't let anyone else be freakier. Like, don't let your partner believe anyone else can be freakier than you want. Of course, like you guys all said, there's limits to it. And, you know, you guys should connect as far as, you know, what's acceptable, degrading or something. But I say just have a safe word. Do it like that. But really, it's all about communication. And just, you know, I would say just keep an open mind with stuff. Be fun. I'm not married yet. I'm engaged. But, you know, I would imagine just being married. Well, life is long. And if you're going to spend life with one person, you got to spice things up. And I would say, you know, even as a man, like, men, I think we all can agree, like, we're relatively easy, at least on the physical aspect of sex. When it comes to women, it's more difficult because you can do things, something with a woman, it could work like that, you know, the first few times, year, month, and then just, it's just something, you can do the same thing and it won't even work anymore. So you got to, you know, as a man, I would say as a man, because it's easier for us to be physically arouse, get there physically. I would say the fun in sex is really like, pleasing your woman, because it is more of a challenge and it is easier for us. So I would say, as a guy, we should definitely focus on, pleasing a woman sexually, and, from the other end of the woman spectrum, I guess, even at the physical aspect, the more fantasy aspect and stuff like that. But really, it's just about have fun, don't be shy of anything. If that's your person, have that person be your person, even if it's something little like weird, don't tell anybody. It's just between y'all two. So, hey, just have fun with it. So I'll say completely responsible.
All right. Thank you, Rashad. What do you think, Tony? What do you think?
I mean, Darwin and Rashad just basically, said it all for the most part. I do think that the guy is easier to please for sure, but at the same time, it's kind of like you can get spoiled after a while, especially if you've been single a while, you've had different women, different experience. You can't, it's kind of like, man, she did that backwards. I'm gonna find her there to find a girl who can do it backwards now. You know what I mean? It's just it's just bringing different levels to it. So now you got that, and then now maybe you're not with her anymore. Now you need to find somebody who can do it backwards and inverted. So now it builds up until when you get to your wife, you're like, man, you're expecting all these things. So I think more than anything else is the communication. So I feel like the guy is 100% responsible for his own satisfaction, and the woman is responsible for hers. And part of that 100% is the communication between both parties.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
I have some questions for you too, or a question for you, but I want to hear from Mrs. Jovo.
Yes, a topic that I have definitely been waiting on. So, and you all have heard me say this before. I've been married for 17 years. And so what I can tell you is that,
damn.
Yeah. So what I can tell you is that I think that you're, if I had to say a scale from 1 to 10, I'm gonna go with you're fully responsible. You are like it's part of the what I like to call my little wifey checklist. When you've been with the same person, that's just married 17 years. We've been together for 23 years. What you don't want to start thinking is, well, what if we get bored? Get that out. Don't overthink this. Have fun. Okay. Have fun and talk about sex when the lights are on. Okay. Learn how to flirt. Learn what your partner likes. Communication is a really, really big part of this. Okay. It's really about you just really getting to know your partner. And I like what Rashad said about safe words and, things that are weird, for you guys, keep it between you guys. I pride myself on, because people make assumptions about, couples and relationships. And, I like to keep my husband guessing. I like for him to, I like to pull surprises, if you will say. I'll just say that, but don't overthink it. Just communicate. Find out what you like. Find out what he likes. I think I said this initially in one of our first shows. Ladies, step it up. You don't have to look the same all the time. Dress it up or don't dress it up at all. Whatever. Find out what he likes. Learn to talk about. I've told clients before. Learn to talk about what goes on in the dark. Learn to talk about it when the lights are on. So I think communication is a big part of that. And you are responsible. I think in the past, women put all the pressure on the men put all the pressure on the women, but Darwin used the word foreplay. Let's talk about seduction. Let's talk about flirting, all these things that lead up to it. People, they ask me, I've had people in different Facebook groups, oh, you've been married for too long. You've been with the same person for too long. And I'm like, no, I still got this big, bright, white smile for a reason. There is no boredom. There is no boredom. We work hard at it. We work hard at improving all areas of our relationship. So, I think it's just a matter of communication.
All right now. All right. So we like to dig deeper in this show. So I got a couple questions for you all. So I know that Darwin and Cannon, you guys pretty much agreed that you are almost 100% responsible. You're about 100% responsible within some restrictions, right? So, and you both mentioned compatibility. What happens if you're not compatible? What do you all think? What do you think needs to be done? Let's say you've married somebody who you're not compatible with. Your sex drives are on the opposite spectrums, or one person likes it this way, another person likes it that way. What would you say in that situation? Because that happens, right? I've heard of it happening. Go ahead, Darren.
Not to toot my own horn or anything, but I just feel like I would be compatible with anybody. I'm just like I mean, but I'm just saying, like, I mean, like I'm kind of I'm trying to think, like, could there ever be a time where, like, I wouldn't, and I'm pretty sure, and it's just my ego speaking, but I'm pretty sure some women have faked some orgasms with me in the past, and I don't really care about that, but I don't really know neither. But as long as I don't know, I'm okay with it, right? But if me and my wife, I don't think I'd be married to her, point blank. I think sex is a big part of being with someone. Like, if you're not being satisfied sexually, that will lead to cheating. I definitely think that, that sex is like, I think about sex all the time. So something that you think about all the time, and if I could just walk around and say one word and have an orgasm, I would do that all day. Just about, you know what I'm saying? So if I had a woman that couldn't give me that satisfaction, then I would have to leave her, because I'm going to be wilding out on her, it's going to be reckless, So, and I wouldn't even care. I'll blame her, so I'd be justified. Like, yeah, you weren't doing this right. You didn't bop me off right, or whatever. Whatever she didn't do right, I'm feeling justified for going out and getting what I deserve.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I agree with that totally. When you said, when it's just not compatible, or y'all just don't like the same things, y'all have these wildly different, sex drives. I think that that's a huge problem. I think that a lot of people, when that does happen, they do run into a lot of problems, because it's hard to, like I said, it is a rhyme and reason to sex, and sex is not only to have children. It also is what helps you build a connection with your partner. You have to think about it psychologically too, like from a woman or a man's perspective. Like, what does that do to you if you don't feel desired by your partner? Like, they could just have a lower sex drive than you, right? Let's say you like to have it way more often than they do, but they just don't, and they turn you down a lot. So that's not gonna make you feel desired, like that's not gonna make you feel happy.
And then another thing,
fulfilled in your life. So I just think that's that's tough.
Another thing, have you ever tried to have makeup sex with someone who just didn't do it for you? It's like the worst thing ever, right? Like it's nothing someone that doesn't do it for you can do for you. You know what I'm saying? When you get mad at them, like, the argument will last forever. But if you got a sexy person and you about to get some good that night, you gonna let some things pass, right? You gonna let it be like, all right, cool. Let me just drop this, because I don't want to miss out on what I got going on tonight. But if it's whack, you gonna be like, you know what? Yeah, I didn't want to eat that tonight. You made that burnt chicken, and I just can't get with that. You're not gonna let stuff pass so easy. So I think sex is really big,
Okay. All right. So compatibility is what you guys are saying is very, very important. Tony, you said something a little different. You said that people are 100% responsible for their own sexual satisfaction, and it is a person's responsibility to communicate with who they're with. Can you explain a little bit more?
Yeah. So I feel like you're 100% responsible, because you have to find somebody who is, sexually compatible with you, emotionally, and everything else, spiritually compatible with you. And it's your responsibility to find that person. And if they're not compatible in that way, it's your fault for sticking with them in the first place. And also, I mean, it's not going to be perfect at first. It could be something that you have to work on. Maybe it's something that she needs to train you better on, or something you need to train her better on. But as long as people are both open, willing to communicate, then everything is everything. Everything's gonna be good. So, but somebody not willing to listen, not willing to change, that's just gonna fuck the whole thing up, basically.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to communicate, but your partner or you yourself have to respond to your partner and make some
Right.
effort. Would you agree with
Right.
that?
They have to communicate with you what they desire. If there's something off, you got to be comfortable enough to say that. You have to say like, this, do it like this. Move your leg over here, whatever it is. And then once it's almost like a building block. It's like once you fix it once, you should never have to say it again. Maybe twice. After that, you got it, and then it's a building block. So now you have this big foundation, and then you just build on it from there.
Okay.
And I would say correct it early, because if you wait too late, and you're like, you've been doing it wrong for years, you ain't said nothing. Correct it early. Just do yourself a favor. Say something soon.
Okay. I have a question for you all about something I think, Tony, you mentioned earlier about you mentioned about how your own experience can heighten your expectation or maybe your desire. So that's something that I've thought about, especially along my abstinence journey. Like, okay, wait a minute. Abstinent till 33 years old. And like, I've had that question come into my mind. Like,
you've been abstinent until 33?
I was absent up until 33. Yeah.
Okay.
33 years old. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm not active now, but I'm just saying I was absent for a long, long, long time.
Okay.
And being somebody who doesn't have a lot of experience, I always wondered that, like, okay, you're not gonna kind of be, are you gonna be compatible? Is this gonna be an issue,
Right.
in your marriage? So there are some people who have so much experience, right? So it's like their expectations might be up here. Their patience level might be down here. So it's like, what do you all say about that? Like, what would you say?
I mean, I don't know how open y'all are on this platform, like how many partners you've had since then.
We open.
Okay.
We open
So
like
I
a
would have to
pair
ask.
of legs.
All right. I would have to ask, like, how many partners you've had since the age of 33? Like, how old are you now?
One. I'm 35.
35. Okay, so during that 2-3 year stretch, how many partners have you had?
One.
Okay. So unless that one person has like really been critiquing you, they're really doing you. Are you still with the person now?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. So that person,
in contact, but yeah.
If that person wasn't open with you and telling you all the things that you were doing right and all the things you were doing wrong, you have no idea what you're doing going into the next relationship. So that's what I feel like a lot of guys do girls a disservice, because they're not critiquing. They don't just speak their mind and say, look, I didn't like this. So when they go into the next relationship, they're doing the same thing, thinking it's okay, and it's not.
I agree with that, but I don't agree with that.
Okay,
because
tell me why.
Every man is different, right? So what she was doing with that man probably didn't work, but she can do the same thing with the next man and it probably work. So his critique won't mean nothing with the next man. Like it's like a start over. You're starting all the way over now.
But you don't start at level 0 though. You starting at level, maybe you at level 8, and then you got to bump down to level 5.
Let me ask y'all something, fellas.
5 was good.
Let me ask y'all something, fellas.
Hold on, pause, before you go.
Go ahead.
These levels, because Darwin always be talking about levels. Is this a man thing where y'all got like y'all level it?
Well, no, this is kind of what I'm about to kind of ask. So,
go ahead.
Okay, I'm kind of more old-fashioned, so maybe I'm not the same. But like, do you fellas, do you prefer women who are less experienced or more experienced? More? Do you?
I would say more. In my mind, I don't like that she's more experienced, but I like that shit though.
I like the less experience, because it's like I can show you what I like. Like, I've been with more experience, and it's like, damn, how many dudes you done that with and all that shit. So
right, exactly. So, I mean, so in your mind, like if you can build a perfect thing that don't exist, it will be a girl with a bunch of experience that was just naturally good at it. Like she's a prodigy. She's a sex prodigy. Out of the blue.
I'm the opposite.
I'm just saying. No, I'm saying if you had a girl and she's like, "Oh, I'm a virgin," you knew she was a virgin, verifiable, all that good stuff. But for whatever reason, she was a sex prodigy. Wouldn't you prefer that?
Exactly. So experience doesn't necessarily mean a number of people you mess with. Experience can mean like you're just experiencing sex. You probably like at the age of 13, I had this little Asian book with like 1,000 positions in it that I used to just read. like
Karma Sutra.
and like you get experience by. You don't have to have a lot of sexual partners, but the things you do with that sexual partner, you can get experienced in. Like you could experience a lot of things with one person, and then the next person you went with, they could have been with 10 people and still didn't experience the things that you did with one person.
Yeah.
So I mean,
that's like the worst
experience could mean a lot of things.
So you got a lot of partners and don't know what you're doing.
Well, we got a question from the audience too.
Okay.
That what if like your partner has like some type of health issue or something that's preventing them from satisfying you sexually, and then what about the other partner being frustrated about that?
Like dryness?
What are you talking about? Yeah, you gotta. What's the health issue? What is this?
I want to go back to kind of what Darwin was insinuating. See, we got to read. They got material out there for those of us who have not been out there. They have books, visual aids, videos. You got to educate yourself about sex. Yeah, you got to educate yourself about sex.
Yeah.
I will say this. I have some books, some readings by my bedside, okay, that helped me when I was in college. Helped me, with being a wife, being in a long-term relationship. You got to read about this stuff. You can't just automatically just jump in there and think, okay, I'm going to do the best I can and go with it. No, you got to prepare. Experience is not always just out there. It's about, educating yourself, reading.
Is that a woman thing? Fellas, have y'all read a book? Well, Darwin said he did, so.
I never read no book.
Yeah, I never read a book.
I never read a book.
I
She's not wrong. She's not wrong, but guys are like, no, I got this instinctually. Guys are more hands-on, practice. So she's not wrong, but at the same time, like, nah, never.
And if your preference is to, you can read and do that too.
I mean,
for some women,
you should do both. If you're gonna do the books,
the thing is, what I was gonna say,
you're gonna have to practice it out.
I do think that that's important too, at least to educate yourself on certain things, like at least the other person's body, like the other person's how they body work. Because how would you know unless you, like you said, you got practice or you have that body part? And what I mean by that is like, there's certain areas on a woman that's more sensitive than others for the most part, and things like that. And if you don't have any experience in that, how would you know unless you read like an anatomy book or something? Like you wouldn't even.
It's the elbow, right?
You'd be like, let me get or whatever. Like you wouldn't know. So stuff like that, it does help to know.
So what I do, like nothing is like the first time, right? When you with somebody and the first time you insert, you see that facial expression, and you like, oh yeah, I got it, right? And like certain body movements, certain ways she roll her eyes back, face she make, noises she make, right? So as a man, I'm always trying to revisit that, right? So I'm always paying attention to see if I did something that made her go back to that first time. If I touched a different spot, if a way I move made her feel a certain way, or moan that way, so I can know what to do next time when I want to see that same facial expression. Okay, I got to go this way, or I got to go that way. So it's all about like learning. It's like you got to study your partner. It's like school. If you want to get an A in sex, you got to do some studying, right? And you got to learn. So I think if you care about the person and want to stay with it for a long time, you just got to be committed to paying attention, and not all the time. Sometimes you just want to get that quick nut, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, when you in that mode where you want to be on some freaky stuff, your past experience is what's going to get you to that level of satisfaction, right? So, I'm always paying attention,
But what does happen when a partner like has some type of issue or something down the line, something maybe
she got to go
foreseeable.
You gotta read.
It could be.
You gotta read.
Say like, what if is after the birth of a child? I know some women, their body changes a lot when that happens. I know a lot of men when men get older.
Don't do that. Don't do that. She ain't talking about me.
Not you, sir. We know we ain't talking about you, but we know that sometimes as a lot of men get older, they experience certain issues and different things like that. So
they're reptiles.
I just want everybody's opinion on like what happens if that's the case. Like I'll ask the guys, if from your perspective, if you were struggling with something like that as you got older, what do you think would be your responsibility like for your partner? Or would you even expect them to be frustrated? Or would you just be like, oh, well, it's all good? Because from what I've seen and what I've read, as Ms. Jovo suggested, is that a lot of times women actually have higher sex drives later in life, and men's tend to go down. So how do you deal with that?
I don't think men's sex drive went down as far as their performance, their previous performance probably went down as they got older. But that has a lot to do with your health. They have a lot of pills out now for men that eliminates that stigma that used to be. You know what I mean? Like no longer, 80-year-olds can get it up just like, somebody who's 20, 30. So it's not, I don't really think that's too big of an issue anymore. But it is your responsibility to do your best. Even if you just eating better. Whatever your responsibility is, just do your best. That's really all you can do. I mean, on both ends, and if she has, different things going on with her body that would be good reading material. I know that women are more likely to read on the material than men. Then maybe the woman can just verbally communicate that to the guy. And if he's open, and he should be, if that's your husband, he should be open to learning. You coming to him, tell him like, hey, look, I need this, I need that. No signs. Women are big on signs. No signs. Just say what it is in 2 sentences, and it will register so much better than signs and clues and mazes and labyrinths and all the other things you guys got under your sleeve.
If my stuff don't work, my tongue still works. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Be a strong neck motherfucker.
Yep.
All right, Indigo Light says, my husband suffered a broken hip during our marriage. He offered a divorce. I decided to stay. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's marriage. Like I'm just wondering what you guys think about that situation. You're married to somebody and these challenges come into play, but it sounds like Tony's saying, you do the best that you can do.
I think I would be like an old dog that don't want to see nobody die, right? And he just run away and die. Like if my stuff stopped working, I think I would like leave and just be by myself and just because I don't want my wife seeing me like limp like that. And
no, you won't.
And I gotta pop.
No, you won't.
I'm just gonna wander away.
Run away to die.
Just gonna wander away like the dogs do, and they die by themselves. No,
you won't. Y'all, let me just say this, and 23 years with the same person. You're a team, and it's like when one part of the team is suffering, you have candid conversations about, okay, let's go back in our playbook. Let's figure out where do we. I was 18 when I met my husband. Since that time, I have had a child. I've had some medical issues. I've gained weight. I don't look like I did at 18. Bodies are changing, work schedules change, life changes. We're at the age now where we're both experiencing where we're taking care of, I'm taking care of my dad, he's taking care of his dad, parents are aging, schedules get busier. But when you committed and you married to that person, and I mean, I'm talking about not just infatuation, I'm talking about love. I'm talking about companionship, partnership. You're going to do what it takes to work it out, darling. You're going to do what it takes. You're going to go to the back of the playbook. You're going to go to the B side of the tape, okay? You're going to go all the way, and you're going to figure it out. That's what you're going to do. You're going to figure it out. There is no manual.
I mean, there's no manual to develop or maintain intimacy too. I mean, intercourse is not the only way. So, but that goes back to what we said at the beginning. You have to be intentional about it, though. Like you can't just be like, "Oh, well, it's not working, so whatever." Like, you should be willing.
I hear a lot of my sisters in long-term relationships. They like blah, like it's just something that has to be done in the relationship. And my response is that ain't no fun, So you got to do things to like spice it up. You got to bring in the books. You got to bring in the outfits. If necessary, you got to bring in the equipment, the costumes, the whatever. You got to do it. That's what you got to do. So it's not like one script that you got to use to get everything on track and have it stay on track. You got to get creative. There are other ways, just like Cannon just said, to maintain intimacy that will lead to that sexual satisfaction. I know couples who they wonder why they don't have spice in the bedroom, and the first thing I ask them is, when was the last time y'all went out on an actual date? Not when y'all with a group of people, but it's just you and your partner spending one-on-one time together. You got to find ways to light that fire. You got to revisit some things, recreate some things like you created in the beginning,
Okay. All right. Do you all think that it's it can get to a point where a man or a woman has had so much experience that he or she is almost impossible to please? Do you think that's possible?
I don't think that it would be based on experience. I think that would be I know that like things like people watching too much porn and things like that will desensitize them.
That sounds like an insatiability, not necessarily a
and I know some people do have some addictions when it comes to it and stuff like that. I don't think that that's due to experience. I think that that's a whole nother thing, that's not based on like their experience or their partners, but that's more based on the issue that they have going on in that department.
Okay. Kelly, what do you think?
Yeah.
Oh,
could you say that question again?
Do you all think that a man or a woman can have so much experience that he or she becomes almost impossible to please?
Almost impossible to please. I think that it could happen. Is rare, but it could happen. The more than experience, I think people might get addicted to variety. They might just get sick of the same person. Those type of people, but as far as experience, I think that people could be satisfied, but limiting satisfaction is satisfying. It's just like anything else. Like I've done, like I don't know if anybody ever did the keto diet, like not had any sugar at all. It's kind of like, man, it goes from you eating anything to you have one little thing that's sweet. You're like, man, this is so sweet. This one Skittle is just sweet as hell. You don't even want it. This is too much. So sometimes drawing back and purging yourself or just taking a break from everything is all you need. You just need a reset.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you all for sharing your insight on this topic. Oh, Jovo, I'm sorry. You wanted to add?
I wanted to add about addiction. So I'm with Cannon. When it comes to a point where, and just like what you were mentioning in your question, Ashley, when it comes to a point where it's they're insatiable, they want more, the norm or even the amount is not satisfying them, or they're trying to chase something that they once had. That is the definition of dependency. That is the definition of addiction. Being an addictions counselor, I've seen that several times. And what a lot of people don't understand is that sexual activity and substance use, they go hand in hand. That there are a lot of people out there who are getting involved with different people sexually. They're participating in a lot of high-risk sex because they use it as a coping mechanism, and I know that's for another show, but I just wanted to point that out, that, that's more of an internal issue than it is their partner or, people that they've been with or whatever.
I have a question from that. From your experience, does something cause that? I mean, is it different experiences, or what can cause that?
It can be different experiences. It can even be a traumatic event. I mean, some people, they find that one thing that they can latch on to that gives them that euphoria, that feeling of satisfaction, and they latch on to that, and they continue it. They use it to cope day to day. Similar to like, what we've seen with like certain drugs, like with this opioid epidemic, or what we saw with crack in the 80s. I mean, it's not that different. It has more to do with the internal struggle that they're having. People, when people say, I just like to have sex because that's what I like to do, or I like to get high because that's just what I like to do. Some of that might be true, but a lot of that, they don't understand that there's certain things that were going on in their life when these behaviors started. Like when you have people who, you might have a person who, breaks up from a long-term relationship, and now all of a sudden they're like, they're going to these types of clubs, or they're, they're dating, they're dating multiple people and having sex multiple times a week, something that's normally out of their character. Those are signs where the abuse begins, and then they're becoming dependent upon that lifestyle and those behaviors. So it can be, really different things, Rashad, but, I think we don't take a true assessment sometimes of some of the traumatic experiences people can, that can occur when people start demonstrating this behavior.
Cool. Thank you.
All right. Well, we're going to close out on that topic. Let's move right along to the next topic. Is catfishing more common than we think? For those of you who do not know what catfishing is, it is deceptive activity where a person creates a fictional persona or a fake identity on a social networking service. Okay. It can be used for financial gain or to compromise a victim in a certain way. It can be used to upset a victim, to lead a victim on, or for revenge. There are all types of reasons people do it. Usually it's done on some type of dating site where a person pretends to be someone that they are not. So I want to know what you guys think about this. Is catfishing more common than we think? What do you think? Darren, what do you think?
Okay. I got to tell y'all the story. I have to. I told my wife I was going to tell you the story, and I got to tell it to you. All right? So many years ago, long time ago, when I was a different person, I used to go by the name Bishop. All right. So, one of my friends was talking to a young lady, and back in the day, you like, hey, do she got a friend? Hook me up. You know what I'm saying? So she said, yeah. I forgot the lady's name, so we're just going to use Kimmy. Just say her name is Kimmy. So I began talking to Kimmy on the phone. This was like when Hotmail and stuff was out. Facebook wasn't out or anything like that. So we was talking on the phone. She sent me some pictures of her, wrote me letters for about 2 months. She stayed in Kalamazoo. This was when I was living in Chicago. So we set up a time for her to come see me. She took the Greyhound to see me or whatever. And I drove down to the station to pick her up. Now, Kimmy was supposed to be like 5'6", 160, thick, nice big breasts, So I was excited about going to pick her up. And I'm sitting outside in the car, and I'm looking for, people coming out the station. I'm looking for, and all of a sudden this woman just hops in my car, right? She had to be about 400 pounds. She just opened the door, hopped in my car. I told her what type of car I had, she just hopped in the car. She's like, hey, and I just looked like, oh my God, like, and I'm looking like, oh my God, this is Kimmy, right? So, I'm kind of disappointed. I'm really pissed because I had a whole weekend set up for us. She's supposed to stay the night. We talked about what we was gonna do and how we was gonna do it. It was about to go down, right? So I'm driving, and she talking. I'm really not listening to her. All I'm thinking about is my exit strategy. So I drove to Walmart. I told her I had to pick my mother up something from Walmart. So I get to Walmart, and we go into Walmart. We walking around. So I'm like, you know what? I forgot my wallet in the car. She's like, okay, I'm just gonna run and get it right quick. So I go to the car. I take a bag out. I throw it in the parking lot, and I get in the car and I drive off. So about 5 minutes later, she calling me like, where you at? I'm like, here I come. What aisle you in? She's like, I'm by this aisle. I'm like, okay, here I come. Hung up on her. I'm driving. I'm mad. She called me again, like, where you at? So, I built up enough courage to let her know, like, you know what? You bogus. You said you was 180, 160. You 400 pounds. This is what you get when you lie to people. Click. Don't call me no more. Click. So catfishing is really real. I witnessed it firsthand, was a victim of it. A victim. And, and I just, I've been feeling justified for doing what I did for years, until my wife made me feel guilty for it. But I think people shouldn't do that to people. It's not right. You know, I had a whole weekend planned on my you know, and I was just hurt by it. You know, she took the picture. You know, the picture that she got. This when I first realized how they take them angles, the pictures. They show the tits like that, and then they got the little face and they like smiling and stuff. And then you be like, oh yeah. Then you get there, yeah, she still had big tits, but everything else was big too.
Oh Lord. You were
I
hurt.
applaud you.
Yes, I was hurt, and I had to teach her a lesson.
I applaud you. I
And you know,
applaud
I feel
You
bad.
still
for her.
sound
She
traumatized. And
probably
the
still
guy
in the
down
parking lot.
there.
She's still at that Walmart waiting on me, probably.
That's messed up. So how many of you all been catfished? Has everybody been catfished?
you. Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
A
I
lot
think
of
I
times.
was almost.
I haven't.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've been with the same man for a
And
long
each time it felt like I was getting stabbed in the back.
Oh,
Each time. Oh Lord, sorry. It happened more than once.
Yes.
I think women tend to get catfished differently than men do. I think
I was
men
gonna
get
say.
I think
catfished like
women
based
get-
on what a
women
woman
get
looks
catfished.
like, and I think women get catfished based on like who a man is or like what he has. Like they be catfishing us with that.
Yeah.
Like you be thinking they a whole different total situation and what they got. So I mean, I think we all probably been catfished, but just differently. Not maybe not from like pictures and stuff, but definitely from like I say, people would create a whole persona and a whole somebody
I think-
else. And you
Yeah, I
find out
think
it's
like
I think Ken, I think the
car
difference
lot.
is, I was gonna say, Ken, I think the difference is we men
Yeah.
and females get catfish personality wise, but men are the majority of the ones that get catfish appearance wise, getting like appearance catfish. And I'm gonna tell my little catfish story, and it's not as dramatic as Darwin's, but you know, just being on these dating apps is serious because he mentioned the high angle picture thing, but it's on a whole nother level now. Because I mean, me working at the cell phone in the cell phone industry like 7 years, I saw the progression of technology over time, and it went from angles to, I think at first it was women would just wear all black and kind of stand in the shadow. Then it went to the angles. Then it went to the basic filter that they had, was very recognizable, the basic filter, but if people don't even know the difference, but it was a basic filter, and now they have better filters, like real filters, to where it really alters what you look like completely. And it's like, this is not the same person. And everybody who I swear, everyone who used filters is like, it was really no difference. It's like, well, why are you using it then? Why are we doing this? But I made the mistake when I first started using the dating apps I guess I was just green. I didn't understand how the filters work. And I went out with this one girl, and when I met her, I was like, man, because her pictures look nice. I was like, man, I thought this was gonna be my lover. And it turned out she looked like Danny Glover. When I saw her, she looked like it was bad. It was bad. It was bad. And I was like, man, but I was nice like Darwin. I was nice. I finished the date and I just never called again. That's what I did. But it's really hard, man. It's and we should be mad. Like I should have went off. Like Darwin wanted to go off, but he was like, no, I'm a nice guy. He was so nice that he couldn't bring himself to just go off. He had to just leave the situation. You know what I mean? Which says a lot, because it's like misleading. Like you wasting somebody's time, and they're, you know, it's not only, I don't know what your personality is like because I never got to know your personality, but you misrepresented yourself completely. So
she's a liar. That's her personality, a liar.
Yeah, a liar. Exactly.
How stark was the difference, though? How stark was the difference?
Oh, it wasn't. Okay, so I will say
15 pounds. What are we talking about?
No, I feel like she was using somebody else's pictures. Honestly, on this one, I feel like she was using somebody else's pictures. But it's been other times where I've seen, you know, it wasn't even it wasn't really a weight thing. It was just she was a different person. Sometimes it's a weight thing. They're using pictures from a year ago. It's like, okay, when was this picture taken? It was like, oh, about a year ago. Okay, cool. But you know, a lot of can happen in 365 days. A lot of cheesecakes can happen in 365 days. So, you know, it's just something you don't know. So now what I've done is mandatory video chat before I meet up with anybody. Mandatory. Got to.
Well, you know, they got the video filters now too. So I don't know. That's
Here you go with that. Don't discourage
So here's
him.
the thing. No, I know the difference. So they got that. They have so I know the difference if a girl's like, okay, yeah, we can video chat. Let's video chat on Snapchat. I'm like, nah, we ain't doing that. Because Snapchat has a normal, a lot of people don't even know this, but Snapchat has a normal filter that automatically goes when you take a regular picture on Snapchat. People are like, oh, I like this camera better. It's a filter on it. It's like, it's very faint, but there's a filter on the Snapchat camera, which is why somebody might be trying to take, like, I've seen girls, my ex would take pictures with her friends with the other one, and then one of the friends say, yeah, no, do it on the Snapchat camera, because the Snapchat camera has a filter on it, and they're not even aware of it, because it's just like, it's like a, I don't know, adrenaline rush for them to use something that makes
aware. We're definitely aware of it.
Oh, okay. Well, they playing dumb then. I definitely bring it up.
Rashad, you were going to ask something?
Yeah, man. I know you were talking about, difference between a year. I've been catfished several times, but probably the most egregious situation. I was on a dating app. I think Plenty of Fish. I met this girl on there. I'm super pro-black. This woman, she had on, like, in her picture, she had on like this Egyptian Cleopatra dress. She was, real small and everything. We were talking. She's, sounded super educated and everything, and like the whole Grand Risings king and stuff like that. We were talking for a few weeks, traded numbers, everything. She lived in a city, maybe like, and this is when I lived in Indianapolis. She lived maybe about 45 minutes away. So, like I said, she looked like, and so we talked about meeting. So we ended up, and I was going to take her out and everything. So I told her to come to my apartment. She came down to meet. She got there, knocked on my door. I opened the door up. This chick was like 8 months pregnant, like about to pop. Like, and on top of that, she was like dressed like a bum and everything. Like, I don't care about hair like that, but her hair was just in some like cornrows and some shit like that. I'm like, wow. She drove, like, she had a van with the windows broken out and everything, because she was just talking like, oh, I'm like, who is this? It was the same chick, but she was just real. One, she wasn't pregnant in her pictures, and just her talking personality, just text online and stuff, was just way different. And I was nice enough. I was gonna take her out, but I just took her to White Castle, and like I paid my own and she paid her own. But one thing she did teach me: jelly on a White Castle sandwich. I know it sounds weird. It's good. That's one thing I got out of her. So it sounds gross, but you should try it. But that was one of them, like, wow, really situation. Like, I think she said she was doing 3 weeks. That's how pregnant she was. So yeah. Crazy.
She hit you with the Grand Rising King. It's a wrap.
Exactly. That was back when I first started hearing it, but now I'm into the game.
She was super thirsty to look. She was looking for a home and a baby daddy.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
That Grand Rising King, that's red flags.
Well,
red flags.
But that just makes me wonder how often this works, that people seem brave enough to do it. Because, like, for me personally, I mean, I would, like, if I'm like knowing that I don't look like what I purported myself to look and like all of these things, I don't think I would want to be like meeting, so like they gonna know that I'm like they're gonna find out. So
I think it's a mental illness. It really is. Like, I think people it's a mental illness. That's the one thing. And the other thing is, I blame men that are not like Darwin leaving his girls at Walmart. Because if they did that more often, they would catch up, or they would get it. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of guys are like, they'll just go along with it. Cool, I'm just trying to smash anyway. Or they downgrade their intentions. Like, men can easily downgrade their intentions. They're like, I'm trying to get to know this person. So, like, you know what? I hit it, but I ain't trying to. Blah, blah.
That's
so
what I was wondering. That's what I was saying. I think that's what it sounds like to me, that people would be so willing to keep doing it. And so it must have some type of, you know what I'm saying? Some type of return, some type.
It's that, I'm thinking about what Rashad just shared with the woman who was pregnant. A lot of people who catfish, they suffer with, social awkwardness, and they suffer with the inability to make social connections. So they don't have coping skills to do so. So they're like, okay, let me do something that is surefire. Like, if I just make up someone, I probably, if I act this way, look this way, then I can build connections, with people, just like what Tony was saying, it is something mentally going on. When y'all presented the topic to me, I took some notes, of course. Dissatisfaction with bodies. If you've ever watched the show, Catfish is one of my favorite shows. Let me just say this. working in mental health, I absolutely watch semi-ridiculous stuff on television to manage my mood and help me feel cheerful. And what I find on Catfish, if you really pay attention to the episodes, normally you find someone who is dissatisfied with their body. They're in a situation where they may, deal with a lot of loneliness. You've seen military wives on Catfish. You've seen pregnant women, overweight women on Catfish. You've seen people who are struggling with sexual identity on Catfish because they're not comfortable with who they are. So they create this persona, this identity to draw people in, to give them that false sense of love and belonging and understanding. And then, if you ever notice on the episodes, and I don't know how long it took you guys to meet up with the women that Catfish do, but if you notice, it's like down the road, like it's weeks or it's even months. And then for some people, they get caught up in people in a year because they don't want to be found out. They want to continue this persona because that's kind of their cocoon, their comfort zone. I don't have to work on my lack of social connected, my lack of social skills or me being socially connected to anybody if I just stay in this little cocoon of making up who I want to be, So it definitely is something mentally connected to that. Yeah.
Do you feel like they're wrong though? Do you feel like they're wrong? Mm-hmm. That being said, do you feel like they're wrong?
I do. I think they are. I think they are wrong, and I think some are wrong and misguided. I think that like going back to Rashad's situation. You're 8 months pregnant. Obviously, you feel unattractive. He described her lifestyle to where maybe she's not satisfied with the way she's living, and it's like I don't have nothing but time on my hands. Let me just see. Instead of seeking help and support. And that's the other thing, people who catfish, they lack support. And if you've ever watched some of those episodes, a lot of them are not connected to family or they're having conflicts within their family. Like, some of the episodes where some of the people are like beefing with a sibling or the parents call the person that's getting catfished and saying, hey, they're lying to you. They don't have good connections in life in real time.
So tell me if I'm thinking wrong. I'm sorry. Tell me if I'm thinking wrong. But I don't think they're wrong. And I say this because I don't think nobody is wrong for going to trying to pursue and get what they want in life. I think everybody has a selfishness in them and they want what they want. And however it means they can get it, that's fine. But they wrong. They're not wrong, but they wrong for choosing who they chose. They was wrong in that the choice they made with that person. Because if the only way I knew was to get a woman was to catfish, I would probably do it, right? So they're not wrong. I that's probably just me thinking I'm kind of crazy like that, but I'm just a selfish person like that. I will go to the end of the world to get what I want, and I'm gonna be like, I'm not wrong. This is what I want. Who's to tell me I'm wrong or right? Who made these rules? But at the same time, old girl was wrong for catfishing me.
She was wrong. Nobody else is wrong.
Right. I'm not even commenting on that one.
I just want to highlight what I've noticed. I hear you guys talking about body pictures. This is strange to me because I post videos of me deadlifting, squatting, running on the treadmill. So all this, she only take pictures from the neck up. I'm sorry to hear it, but for me, I've noticed more women coming out saying that these guys are supposed to have these apartments they don't have, supposed to have these cars they don't have, this money on their arm they ain't got, all these things. And so it's like
they call that
if you see anybody with money on their arm, they ain't got it. You know that. They talking to the money, they ain't got it. Those are just.
Likewise, that's what I was gonna say about the filters. Like, you gotta know she doesn't have a dog nose on her face. You gotta know those are fake bunny ears coming out.
Oh no, I'm not talking about the. I'm talking about regular. No, not those filters. Those are the first filters.
What do you mean, like the fake eyelash filters?
Nah.
All of
the
it.
filters.
The
No,
ones
I'm
that-
talking about the
blemishes,
ones that look
wrinkles.
like that's really how you look, but it's like slimming
Right.
your face, made
Make you
your
light
eyes
skin,
bigger, your
make you
nose
dark skin.
smaller.
Those
You
aren't
know,
just filters. Those are actually what do you call it?
Photoshopping.
Like Facetune. Yeah, Photoshop.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Which it
Photoshop.
sounds like I tell both people, if you're getting judged by men who don't actually have a spot, or their money's not theirs, their car's not theirs, you still got to do your due diligence. Same thing with a girl. If you're talking to a girl and all you can see is this up, you have red flags. I'm sorry to tell it. And if you still decide to meet up with her and she broke your heart, I'm sorry to hear it. You know, I don't know, because
here's the thing, though.
my whole
It's
body on
common.
Facebook, so I'm trying to figure out.
The problem
Which
is
brings-
it's so
women with
common
the neck
that
up. I don't get it.
Hold on,
But
you
it's
all.
Which
like
brings
9
me
out
to
of
my
10,
next
though.
point.
Wait,
Which
hold
brings
on.
me to my next point.
Hold on, Jobo. Let Tony go
Okay.
again, and then
I was just gonna say, I mean, you're like, I feel what you're saying. It is a red flag, but the problem is that 9 out of 10 women on there have filters, so you have to filter through the filters to find out one who actually looks okay without a filter. You get what I'm saying? And then so you have the red flags. If everybody has the red flags, it becomes no flag at all. You know what I mean? So it's like now it's like, okay, cool, everybody got filters now, because women are mocking other women because it's like it's the norm. It's very, very seldom that you come across a woman's dating profile and that she doesn't have any filter pictures. It's super rare. You're not on that side of the
I have none.
yeah, you're not on that side of it, but it's
Yeah, I
rough.
haven't been on a dating site like ever, so I don't
Yeah.
really know. I mean, I'm just judging by like Facebook. Like the filters aren't that deep, or Snapchat. The filter, like they're obvious filters. I can look at these women and tell
no,
them
the thing is, Raven, is that it's a known fact at this point that those filters and filtered apps and things like that have skewed our perception of reality. So it's definitely prevalent, and it's definitely I mean, I use filters all the time. I like them. So even I fall prey to it,
like,
you know. So
the ones that turn my eyes green. You should know my eyes aren't really green. But if you've never talked to me FaceTime or whatever the case may be, and you're just going off Snapchat pictures or Instagram pictures, again, it sounds like you're not doing your due diligence.
You would need to. I feel what you're saying when you say green and bunny ears, but you really need to experience it to see. Like, because I'm not an idiot. I know you black.
No, I know, that's what I'm saying. But if you're FaceTiming and she's still, I don't know.
Right, that's what I'm saying. You have to. So from a guy's perspective, you know how brave you have to be to ask for simple things from a woman. Like to ask a woman, like, "Hey, you mind if I FaceTime to make sure you're not ugly?" You know how that comes off.
Just FaceTime her. Like if she ugly, just hang up. Like what is somebody gonna rob you or something?
You have to transition through that. So it's like, damn, actually out of ones I bypass, I actually like this one enough to want to actually spend time FaceTiming her. It's not going to be a 5-minute phone call. Now you finna talk to her for at least 20, maybe 30 minutes, maybe more. So you get through all that and then you say something like that. Now, meanwhile, this one who's actually is attractive, she knows she's attractive because she actually is attractive. She got an inbox full of dudes and you're the one that's asking something different of her. You're asking her to do something out of her norm that she might not be comfortable with. You might not even hear from her again just because of that. It's a whole another ball game. It's a sport you never even played before.
No,
like it's different out here. It's different. It's rough.
Yeah, I
mean, the filters look obvious on this end. They look obvious. That's what I'm like, y'all really think that
I feel like you can tell, as a guy, you can tell a lot about a woman with her filters, how many filters. Like you can almost, it's very telling of a lot of things. And a lot of guys can and do kind of prey on that. It's almost like a sense of the self-esteem or lack thereof, depending on how much the filters are. So like, from a guy's perspective, like we'd be like, okay, she has low self-esteem. I might be able to, talk to her like this, get away with that. So I mean, it's deep to that. It can be deep.
Yeah, I think Raven, you are picturing filters that me and you might use every once in a while.
That's what I'm like. How many filters are there that this girl is changing her entire appearance?
There are thousands of filters.
Oh my God!
We're talking about like Photoshop and. Maybe there are some other types of, because I know the ones that I see on Snapchat, I use it like probably twice a year. And they do have very elaborate ones where it's like
glitter in the background.
Yeah, but you have to think about technology, right? It all started with like magazines, movie stars, celebrities. You know what I mean? Like none of them look like how you think that they look, right? On none of the magazine covers do they actually look like that. Who's like one of the biggest families that's the biggest culprit of that, like the Kardashians, for instance, right? I don't know if you saw, like recently everybody was like bashing her because she did like that Facetune video. Like it was a video, but that was not her face. Like she had like a video filter on her face, and she didn't look like that. And it was a big thing because she got mad because somebody posted an unfiltered photo of her, and she didn't look bad, but she didn't look how she looks in her edited photos, right? So what I'm saying is that since we have technology that, I mean, they create apps every day that you could, like I say, do all types of stuff, and more people have access to it. And since they do, everybody is doing it. So I understand what he's saying, that it's like, it's just like common, like everybody, like, you know, everybody can't afford plastic surgery, everybody can't afford that stuff. And even if we look at how many people are doing all those things to drastically change the way that they look, now they have a phone that they can just click and just put it into my face look like that, and they think it needs to look like that because that's what they see.
A little more perspective. I went to UT Austin, and I majored in radio, television, and film. I took editing classes. I took Photoshop classes. So it's like I know the way they're doing it now. These girls are good. It's like they went to school for it. They are good. It's a whole nother level, and it's just something you just have to be.
They literally have tutorials on TikTok.
Man, I'm telling you, like, man, how are they? Yeah, they're doing actual Photoshop. There's filters, and then there's actual Photoshop where you can do body curving and stuff like that. They're doing actual real Photoshop with software. So imagine how.
If that's the case, would dating apps go down? Like, wouldn't the participation for men reduce if they're not satisfied with the plagiarism?
No, because the benefit.
You just go keep trying.
Yeah, the benefit always the cost.
A lot of
guys are trying. Guys are trying.
Numbers game.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If let's say 90% of the women are all filtered fake women, whatever the case may be, and you're looking for something real, you're just not looking for a smash and pass. If you know that's what's on the dating online market, why would you keep going? Like, why wouldn't you just stay in real life?
Majority just means you just got to pick. You just got to have patience. That's all.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
It's like the lottery.
Yeah.
I think the newer generation is more used to it. But me, I come from the era where actually talking to a woman in person, hey, how you doing, and seeing
that's what I thought was still happening.
But at the same time, when you do that, you might get rejected 9 out of 10 times. So it's nothing to do it online. You can just it's like, man, when you have the capacity to talk to women in the 90s and the 00, and now you have the technology to sit at home and do it, it's way easier. Yeah. But it's still a process you have to go through.
And I imagine a lot of guys, some guys probably just kind of takes the fun until they get to the woman that they want.
Exactly.
You know, a lot of them are probably like you were asking, why do women keep doing it? Like, because like the jig is up, but it's like, well, you know, a lot of times these women are insecure and they're looking for some type of attention from the opposite sex, and they'll go and they'll probably hook up with this guy, and it's really just sex to the guy, right? But this girl, you know, is hoping it's gonna be something more. Maybe she's not hoping it's gonna be something more. Maybe she just wanted that interaction with the man, and that's the only way she could get it. And the guys are just along for the ride until they find somebody that they think they can keep around. You know, I see a lot of people. It seems like people use dating apps for that too. Like, everybody say they want a relationship, but it sounds like from people's experiences, it's like they hooking up too. They doing all types of other stuff.
Women use dating apps so differently than men. It's funny to watch a woman do a dating app versus a man, because women like look at the pictures and analyze. Men are just like swipe right, like, oh, you look good. Okay, good enough.
What about on the flip side about
I was going to say.
Go ahead, Javonda, and then Darwin.
No, what I was going to say was, being someone that has worked inside of jails and prisons and also worked in, you know, like residential substance abuse treatment facilities. Like, literally the last residential program that I worked at, we had to ban the clients from getting on dating apps, because, you know, when you're someone battling addiction, one of the things we tell people is that, you know, that first year trying to get sober and stay that way, a relationship dating is not a good idea. I can tell you that a huge percentage of people that are on the Plenty of Fishes and on some of these sites, I'll just say this, their lifestyle is not what it appears to be. They could be sitting in rehab for all you know. They can be sitting in prison, jail. And I've seen it happen. You know, I've literally had sessions with clients where they've had their phone and it's like, let's look at your apps today. You know, how many personas have you created? You know, because they're not satisfied with where they are now. Like, I'm in a rehabilitation center. You know, I'm not where I want to be. So let me have a little bit of this fantasy of I'm just this eligible person. And then on the flip side, too, the person, because some people, you know, wonder, well, why? How can a person get catfished more than once? You know, sometimes you see some of these victims and they see what they want to see in the moment. They ain't looking for red flags. They're like, I see the one. This is the one. It's like they don't see what we're seeing, you know, which is the beauty of the show, because all the pieces are being put together and we're at home looking at our TV like, they didn't see that. No, they didn't see that. They see love. They see attention. They see this person cares about me. They see that good morning text. They see all of that. They don't see those red flags because they don't want to see them. They don't want to see them. They're looking for something. When you're looking for something, nothing else matters. Think about it. Think about it. When you're looking for something that you're really wanting, nothing else matters. You know, it's really about building awareness. If you're going to be dating online, you know, they actually have classes that teach people how to date online. You know, and if you go to any of these dating apps, in the settings or in the description of the app, they try to tell you in writing what you're getting into. But we get so excited about, oh, I'm about to find my boo thing or whatever. You just bypass reading the education and you just jump right in there, you know, not understanding what you just signed up for. So I wanted to, you know, make that point as well.
All right, y'all. So is there someone who would like to close us out on that topic? Who would like to close us out? Rashad, can you close us out? Just some last minute thoughts.
Sure. Hey, just know that one, I'm glad to be out of the game, because being in that game, this is a crazy world. So yeah, hey, even as a guy, it's like a lot of times you even have, like, on, you know, social media, dating apps, like sometimes you even have to ask yourself, is this even an actual woman? So like it's crazy out here. It's crazy out here. You just got to be aware, be careful, ask questions, verify. But yeah, catfishing is definitely prevalent. Almost, even hearing some of your guys' story, like almost like normal, it seems like. So it just brought up my awareness of it more. So just be careful out there.
All right. Well, thank you all. Let's go ahead and move on to our next question. The next question is, how important is height to a woman? How important is height to a woman? Is it really that important? What do you all think? What do you think, Jobo? I'm sorry. Did you want to?
I think it just depends on how tall you are. You know, I have, and I'm thinking to myself, two really good friends that I have that they are above average height to be women. You know, they you know, what people would say, they're stacked. So, you know, I have one friend. She normally says, you know, I'm a tree. I'm like a dogwood. I need an oak. I need an oak tree. I need somebody I can climb. You know. And I'm always encouraging her, you know, like, well, what if they want to climb you? And she like, no, I don't want that. I want to climb him, you know. So, I mean, I guess it just depends on, you know, what you see yourself compatible with physically. You know, that's what I think. For me, it really doesn't matter. You know, me and my husband, we like the same height. You let him tell it. He a couple of inches taller than me. I'm gonna let you have that, babe. But to me, it doesn't matter. But for some women, like who we would deem as, you know, Amazon, you know, it does matter. They want someone who either matches where they are or someone taller. So, you know, I think it just is based upon, you know, what you visually, you know, want in a mate. I mean, I know we had a show about that, you know, not too long ago, you know, where, you know, do Black women can we like what we see, you know, in our mates? Absolutely. So I guess it just depends on what you like and who you are and how you see yourself.
I agree.
All
I
right.
think my dad is like 5'9", my brothers are about 5'9", but my husband is 6'3". So it didn't growing up, it didn't really height wasn't a thing for me. I didn't really notice it until the first time my husband met my dad. And then my dad, at the time, I didn't think about it, but he stood up on 2 extra steps to make down he could look down at my husband because we were 17. And so, we joke about it now, but I think amongst men it's a thing, but it didn't bother me none. I mean, him being that tall, it didn't become a thing until I got older and other women were like, girl, your husband over 6 foot. And I'm like, yeah, he been that way for a long time. But,
Have you
it
always?
just,
How tall are you?
I'm 5'4".
5'4". Okay.
Okay, and before your husband, did you date guys that were also tall or
Yeah.
short?
Never mind. Yeah, all the guys I've dated are tall. I'm gonna be
Okay.
I think that is one of those things where those double standards come back to bite a lot of guys in the butt. A lot of those double standards that I'm always railing against, that I think that people just need to let it go because a lot of that stuff is arbitrary. But I think it's one of those things where men think they're supposed to be taller, and so then women think that they're supposed to be taller. Like I've heard like a lot of men. I know a lot of men don't necessarily want to date women who are taller than them either. You know what I mean? So because they feel some type of way. I know a lot of women who, like Miss Jovo say, who are taller, who have a hard time dating men because some men don't want to date tall women. It's like a arbitrary, men are supposed to be taller than women type of a thing. But yeah, but for me personally, I've literally that has never even mattered. But I mean, I'm like 5'3", so maybe if I was taller or something, then it would. I don't know, but I'm a lot of people are taller than me, so. So I've never really been like, I need somebody 6 feet. Like for what? Like it doesn't matter.
Y'all are the most open-minded women I've ever spoken to, ever. Because that's not the way. That's not the way women talk. They be like, if you ain't, on this day naps, if you ain't 6 feet or taller, don't even bother jumping
But
the
6
lake.
feet is not
etc.
even average height for a man. So how's
I know,
everybody
but
out here wanting somebody above average height?
average height women don't care. That's what I'm saying. Like I agree with you, but they don't care. You know what I mean? I'm 6'4", so
I think that's just stuff people say. I don't think that's
like,
reality.
is that what y'all are paying attention to? Because I mean,
no. So here, I think that I'm not paying attention to. Like, why would I care? I don't care how tall another man is, and
no.
And they don't.
Are those the women that you guys are paying attention to? Like, because women are shorter men all the time. So I'm like, and I know
because they settle. They call that settling. That's what women call settling, whether they say it or not. I'm telling you, huh?
They seem happy to me though.
Yeah. You can be happy. You can be.
I'm just saying. Women say that they were settling.
What's the phrase?
Y'all sound like y'all projected.
What's the phrase?
No.
I'm not. Man is tall, dark, and handsome. Tall, dark, and handsome.
Exactly.
Rashad took the words right out of my mouth.
That came from what? Never mind. Y'all.
These are requirements women want. Like I'm not projecting. I'm just simply saying what I see. And women are like, I need somebody taller. They gotta be this, gotta be that. And they say that.
Okay. Do you also see a lot of men clamoring for women who are taller than them?
Absolutely not.
Taller than them?
Yeah.
You know what? To me. I mean, again, I don't know other guys' preferences like that. But usually the woman is shorter. Because usually I think that's what they can get. I don't think a lot of shorter men can get someone who's towering over them. I just don't think that they can get that.
But I've heard a lot of men say like they don't need like if a woman is like their height, they don't even want her to wear heels because then she's gonna be taller than them. So I mean, I've heard that.
I believe you. It's a confidence issue on their part. Again, it's hard for me to speak on it. You got to talk to somebody who's about that.
Man, you 6'4". Let me talk about this. I'm 5'9". I'm 5'9". Let me talk about it.
I'm 6'2".
There you go.
Okay.
Dom is 6'2". You 5'9".
Yeah. So I'm the shortest.
5'9" is average height for a guy, right? Yes. 5'9", right?
Yeah. So 5'8". So I'm an inch taller. I'm technically tall.
5'11".
5'11"? No, see, 5'11" is tall. 5'11" is tall for a guy. I think 5'9" is average height You're talking about
I think
average.
5'9" is average height for a guy.
5'9"
That's why I was
is
saying it's
average
weird
height.
to me that everybody thinking people want all these
So-
tall people when that's above
people are not
average.
that
Like
tall.
most people are not that tall.
It's the illusion.
Yeah,
It's the illusion
like a
they've created.
stereotype.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
stereotype.
it's the illusion that they've created that something's gonna be better. We're gonna look better. He may perform better. He may be, he may fit this stereotype of just like what Rashad said, that tall, dark, and handsome. That's generational. We've heard that since like what, the 40s.
What you say?
Well, I have,
You
but
don't
I
ever
heard
hear
my grandparents.
fat and ugly as the desirable thing.
Yeah,
And the protection factor.
Right.
The protection factor. They want a lot of women want to feel protected, so they maybe equate height with strength and protection.
They do.
Or
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask. Do you think it could be more than just like a saying? It could be a biological thing. Again, like men are naturally biologically bigger, taller, stronger, whatever than women. So it could be that biological protection thing. And it could be like even if you are a taller woman, you still might biologically want a man who's taller than you, just because that might be in our biological makeup. No different than a man probably wanting a woman who's smaller than them. It's just possibly a biological makeup.
Yeah, I think women have to be realistic, right? We can't be expecting a man that's like super tall because most men are not that tall. I think that's important. You can't pass up a guy just because he's not a certain height. I mean, you can, but I don't know if that's necessarily the wisest thing to do. But I also think that, it kind of does go both ways. Because I know, Tony, you said that you think that men have some type of insecurity issue when they don't want a woman to be shorter than them. But I don't know if I agree with that. I think on both sides, we have certain thoughts. Women feel for some reason, whether it's true or not, that they're more protected with a taller man, and men feel like they're more dominant with the shorter woman, I think. And that might not be the case for everybody, but I see it. There was a guy, he was like 6'4" and probably even taller. And he was like, no, unless he was just lying to me or something. He said he wanted like a shorter girl. And I've had other guys say that to me. They like short girls.
Creeps.
I remember there was a guy that I went out with a long, long time ago. He was like anywhere between 6 foot and like 6'2", and very like attractive. I think he was very confident, but he straight up told me, like, after one of our dates, I prefer I wore heels. He was still a little taller than me, but quite a bit taller than me. But he's like, no, I prefer you wear heels. And maybe that was just for comfort. I don't know what it was, but I think a lot of men too, they like shorter women. So I think it kind of goes both ways. The thinking has been kind of programmed in us, to think, oh, when you're a big man, you can be so dominant, or when you have a big man on your arm, you're protected. Yeah, and that's not always true. But...
You said you're 5'11"?
No, I'm 5'3".
Oh, okay.
It sounds like you're dating a lot of tall men over there. You named like 2 tall guys you dated. I dated this guy and this guy.
Yeah, that's why I'm just kind of like, it's funny though, because a lot of people are always like, women shouldn't be wanting tall guys. But from my experience, tall guys like short girls. Some of them.
So I want to reiterate. So I'm 6'4". My ex was 5'2". So I've dated. Huh?
I said exactly.
Yeah. It was a difference, but that's not. I mean, to me, it doesn't matter. It don't matter how tall the woman is. To me personally, some guys want the girl to be shorter. But I would say like guys' preference vary. For a woman, usually she wants the guy to be tall. That's typical. That's all I'm saying. It's typical for a woman to want the guy to be taller than her.
Have y'all ever dated?
Taller the better.
Fellas, have y'all ever dated a woman taller than you? And ladies, have you ever dated a man shorter than you?
My husband's dated women taller than him.
All the time.
There you go. See, there you go.
Like I said, my husband, he claims he's like a couple of inches taller than me, but we like right here. I'm 5'7". So, we like right here in height,
Apparently,
I
my
like big
husband's
guys.
6'2". This was news to me.
Yeah, It's not necessarily tall for me. It's more so like I like big dudes.
This is my catfish.
And I got a big
See,
guy.
that's my thing too, Miss Jovo. I like my man to look a certain way. So
it's funny because
I don't know.
Jovo yeah, it's funny though because Jovo and Mrs. Understanding are saying it doesn't matter, but their husbands are like big and tall.
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean,
but my dad is short. That's what I was saying. My dad is short. Yeah. It doesn't bother me.
But she's 5'4",
so than I had.
She's 5'4", so it ain't too many men unless she's
right.
That's going after midgets. So
that's why. Like 5'7", my dad like it doesn't bother me.
But on the flip side, I have an older cousin here in Atlanta. Like he got a thing for tall women, but he like 5'5", 5'6", and like when he see women in heels, tall women walk by, he just like, boy, I'd like to climb that tree, or boy, that's a big tall glass of water.
How old is
he like in his 50s. So I mean, I think it's something with older guys too. But I think it's something with older guys.
But you know what? Even though this is a natural height, like if you go to a strip club or something, like strippers in like 9-inch heels, like strippers be like 6 feet tall in their heels and stuff. Which to me, I mean, I don't go to strip clubs a lot, but it's like to me I prefer order. So.
Not 9-inch heels.
Strippers wearing, but you even know strip clubs.
But it's like, I wonder why
they have the blue tassels, but I ain't never been in there.
Yeah, well, you know, the illusion of taller.
And leaner. The heels, the women wearing black, the heels, it makes us look thinner. You know, it makes our, I take a lot of photos in black. When I know I'm wearing black, I'm probably gonna take some pictures. Like that's just what it's gonna be.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you all this. There are 2 questions. One of them, oh my God, one is escaping me. But one question is, what would you say to a woman who meets a guy and she likes him, but he's short, or he's shorter than her?
But she likes him.
She doesn't have Napoleon complex. I think everything's okay.
She likes other things about him.
Oh, but she doesn't like that.
But she doesn't like the height.
So I mean, what does she do? Is she still gonna pursue him or no?
I'm asking you, what would you say to her? Like she likes other things about him.
I would say they're the same height horizontal wise, so it don't matter.
I wouldn't say nothing to her. She like what she likes. She don't like what she. I mean, it's up to her now. If you go bypass that height situation and go for it, or you just go stick to that and be like, oh no, I gotta, might potentially miss out on a good person because you stuck on this little height stuff. But I hope she gets whatever she deserves.
Exactly.
Yeah, like the thing is, I guess I can't really judge that kind of stuff too much because, like, I found out I'm more of a sapiosexual, which is a person who is more attracted mentally to somebody, than anything else. So I don't know. I just like, to me, those types of things are kind of arbitrary. I mean, you want some type of physical attraction, like it has to be some type of physical attraction, but all of that, like this particular height, this skin shade, this.
So you like, got me for my man, huh?
What? What is that?
Yes,
foreplay going on.
There you go.
You so stupid.
Well, Darwin is my new homie. Like he the homie for real. Like he is the homie.
I thought I was just funny to her. Now she telling me all this other stuff 5 years later. Why she like it's for the mind? All this other crazy stuff. I've been greasing on my arms and stuff.
I know, right? He think it's the beard.
All right, beard gang and stuff. Got me doing all this backflips for this, and she just want my man. That's
I know, right? He in the mirror. She like my shoulders. She really fuck with that.
Holy, so confusing.
No, I'm with Cannon though. Like people ask me, what was the number one thing that attracted me to my husband? It's what people now call swag. Like just he real reserved, the way he carried himself, he still think he the coolest dude on earth, and I mean I tease him about it, but I like that. I mean we can talk. Second date we went on, I think we talked almost all night. We just random, just cool. So
we know you kept it classy. We know.
Here you go. Here you go.
Well, I know for me, I'm gonna be honest. I prefer a man that's tall. Like my dad is super tall. My brothers are tall. And that was my question. Do you all think that the men you're around has some influence on the height that you prefer, or that the height that you're attracted to? That's what I wanted to ask
For the
you all.
ladies?
But yeah, for the women. But for me, I do prefer that. But I think that it's like, for instance, there were a couple guys that I really liked that were not.
No, let's get to the nitty gritty.
So-
The dude you gave it up to, was he tall or short? That's the one.
Yeah, there we go.
Please, that's not. I thought the question was gonna
This
be.
is height.
Yeah.
That's not. I thought the nitty.
I was about to say that.
Jesus.
Was he
Give us
tall
the
or short?
stats.
He was tall.
Okay.
He better have been. Lord, you
33 years. He
Thank
broke
you.
that 33-year-old. He was tall, so
See, we
now
not-
you got to get you a short one and just see how that play out.
Oh my gosh.
At the age of 66.
Huh?
No, Ashley, you're not off the mark. I think because you have been around men of a certain stature or height or whatever it is that you into, that plays a part in what you're gonna be looking for.
I wonder. Okay.
I mean, I think about my uncles; they're real reserved and laid back. So I just kind of,
Yeah.
I think that drew me to, my husband. That's what I saw.
And
Now,
know.
for me, the men in my family, like my brother, my youngest brother is taller than my dad and my oldest brother. So my youngest brother will make all the short jokes about how he's the big little brother now and all this other stuff. So, it's a mix. I have uncles who are over 6'4". My grandfather's only 5'9". So I don't know. I didn't think height was a big deal. Like I said, so I got older and actually hearing women say, "Oh, I want a 6-foot tall man."
Yeah.
But I took issue with Tony saying that women settle when they get a shorter man. I don't think it's settling. I think that's insulting to
being
a
honest.
shorter man.
Like Tony said, y'all are different though. Y'all are different.
I'm not trying to ruffle no feathers, but I'm just being honest. It's kind of like
I mean,
if
it's the majority.
If you're building a man from scratch, what height are you gonna put him at? If you're adjusting the level, what height you gonna put him
That's
at?
a great question.
I'm gonna put him at the same height as my husband.
6'2".
There you go,
Oh,
Kenan.
thank you.
Ken, I
Good
know you
answer,
love your
Kenan.
man, Kenan. I know
Good
that.
answer. Touche.
I know.
Ditto.
There you go.
Married women here.
There you go.
I don't know.
Good answer.
I think I wanted to explore that. I wish there were some facts,
So because you were a virgin, and the guy who took your virginity was 6'3", 6'4". So in your mind, I'm guessing, if you're a virgin, somebody taking your virginity, you're like, man, does this guy check all the boxes before I give it up to him? And height probably played a factor in that. He had to look the part at least. You had to fantasize about him being the one to take your virginity at some point. So that in itself, whether it's psychological or you're aware of it, I think
I
height
definitely
matters to you.
his height. I don't know if in the long run height would have mattered because we were friends for like 10 years. So there was a lot of other things. We had a friendship and a relationship.
So I
You
got
have
height.
no friends.
And we had a whole lot of chemistry. So
You didn't have no other friends?
Yeah, you didn't have no short friends.
You had no short
No.
friends? You had no other friends?
Mm.
Like I
But
said,
no,
he checked all the boxes.
I don't know if it would have been different if he was shorter. That's what I'm saying. I don't
Is
know.
y'all still friends?
Yeah. Mhm.
Wow. That's
Yo, he broke the friend zone. I'm proud.
What?
I'm proud.
I'm giving her third degree.
But
Yeah.
but no, I'm not.
All y'all
love height.
stupid.
I love height. I like a tall man. But I just wonder, like, how many women are that tied to it? Because even me, like, if I meet a guy, like, and I have met a couple guys who I really like, but they were short. They were not short, but they were definitely not considered tall. So, and you still like them. You still like them.
So
I don't
ladies.
have
Question for the guys.
So ladies.
me, I don't know if it's important. I love a tall guy, but I don't know if it's not like a deal breaker,
And ladies, in y'all experience, is the taller the man, the bigger the penis in y'all experience? Because I think a lot of women look at height and be like, the bigger they are, then that means he's got a big penis. So is that a thing, or is it just a myth, or I don't know?
No comment.
We got quiet.
You see, this is what I'm talking about.
These are married women.
Again,
Because y'all don't want to tell us how
Again.
many men y'all have.
I thought it was shoe size. I didn't know it
I
was
was gonna
height.
say
Yeah.
I'm looking at hands. I'm not looking at height.
Right, hands
But-
and shoe size. That's what I
See,
thought it was.
see, that's
I
the
think
thing.
that's okay.
See, thank you,
I
Raven.
know more
Thank
about
you,
this than y'all.
Raven.
Okay.
See,
Now,
I'm looking at hands and shoulders and arms
Exactly.
and
All right, well, is that true then?
you know,
Oh, sit up straight.
you know, can I mean, in my mental, I'm looking at hands, arms, you know, strength. Can you scoop me? You know, in my head, can you scoop me up? Because again, I'm 5'7". I'm not a tall woman, but I ain't no little girl either. So it's like, that's what I'm looking at. Because Raven did it when she
Miss
said
Jovo.
hands.
Miss
Did y'all see
Jovo.
my face light up? Like,
Yeah, I'm like height.
Miss
Height
Jovo.
don't determine anything.
Viagra don't work for your hands, okay?
Oh. Okay, I have a question for the guys. So, I'm not a tall man. I don't know. But my husband always, talks about how shorter guys tend to be the ones to be like, bro, I'm almost as strong as you. Or, bro, I could do, whatever.
Napoleon complex.
Right. That was what I was going to ask. How much Napoleon complex do you think affects a man's height? Like, if he's under 5'8", is he going to have a whole lot of Napoleon complex, or is he under 5? Like, how do you guys gauge it? Because my husband experiences, so it's not just women, experiencing shorter men in a different way. So from y'all experience, do y'all experience the Napoleon complex with men? And if you do, is there like a height requirement? Like, if he's under 5'6", he's going to have Napoleon complex. Like,
Well,
I think yeah, go ahead, babe.
Me personally, I'm just gonna. I think I'm 5'7" in reality, right? So I'm not 6'2". I know I look 6'2", but I'm not 6'2". But when I'm out and I get into it with guys, if they're like my height or around my size, I tend to just be like, okay, whatever. But if they're bigger than me, I'm like, let's go, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a big guy in heart, right? So I guess I do have a Napoleon complex, but I really don't like to fight people, huh? I really don't like to fight people. I really don't like to fight people against the conversations with people my size because I automatically feel like that's an easy win for me. So I just, get them passes. And the bigger
Go ahead,
guys,
tell them, babe. You a trained fighter. You're a trained fighter.
Yeah,
we don't worry about it.
I know a little something.
he's like a challenge, apparently. No, the big ones, that's who I want to fight.
Yeah, so but the big ones, because I feel like, big people, the bigger guys, they really don't know how to fight because they really never had to fight because no one's challenging bigger guys, right? So it's not like they just grew up their life just fighting people. Bigger guys, they got into a lot of fights, but basically because they probably was bullying somebody, but ain't no one just challenging big guys. So the bigger guys was probably the easiest ones. I just always want to show a bigger guy like, yeah, you talking to me because I'm short or this and that. So maybe that's like in my mind, but that's how I took it and I ran with it, So I guess, Napoleon complex does play a part with my height, maybe, but I don't know.
I'm just gonna say real quick,
challenging big guys, but
I'm gonna say real quick that I'm pretty cool, calm and collected. I never really get into any conversations, but anytime I ever have, it's always been with a short person trying to prove themselves. Always. And it's just like, where's this coming from? Like, what's going on? It's always been like that, just out of the blue. Like, bruh, it's always been that. Always been that.
Yeah. I think some men do have that complex. They do. So women get a lot of flack for liking taller guys, but I think that men kind of have some of those same indoctrinations or, those same associations between height and character traits that we have. All right, we have a caller. All right. Hey, caller, please introduce yourself.
What up? This is Steven.
Steven, y'all.
What up, Steve-O?
What's up, Steven?
That's my boy.
Hey.
Hey,
Definitely enjoying the conversation. I thought it was really interesting about the topic you guys are talking about now, as far as women and height. I'm curious if you guys think women in height is equivalent to men in weight. And is that something I'm sorry, as far as how we judge each other. So, I mean, do you guys think that's something that's equivalent to each other, or because I think it's kind of difficult to judge because height you can't control. What do you guys think?
What do you all think?
I don't think that it's the equivalent, and only because we, first of all, as a society, we're very fat phobic, even though we're like one of the fattest countries. But we have a lot of issues with people who are overweight, male or female, or are a certain size. But I don't. The reason why I say I don't think it's the equivalent is because from what I've seen, a lot of times, I think there are men who are attracted to bigger women. Like I remember growing up, like from high school and stuff like that, what I would see a lot of the times is I would know the guys that like the bigger girls, but they would always like hide it or like only flirt with the girls when nobody wasn't paying attention because they was embarrassed because they didn't want their friends to know that they liked the bigger girls. So I mean, I don't know. I see small guys with big girls all the time. So I don't think that I don't know. This is very new to me because especially in certain socioeconomic situations, most people are out of shape and overweight, and they're all dating each other. So I don't know what all of this, all of a sudden like overweight and like I don't know. I just haven't personally really seen it where it's been this big thing outside of online where it's like you have to be this size, and for most people to be saying it, because most people I know, let's be 100% honest, are out of shape. Most people are not in shape, especially once they get a certain age. In this country specifically.
Okay. What were you saying, Stephen?
Well, no, I was just going to say that, I hear that point. Some guys like big women, but they don't bring them out in public. That means they don't like big women. That means they're just hitting big women because, it's easier access.
I mean, that could mean that, but that could also mean, like what I said, that they like the women. But since a lot of guys that I've seen, especially when they're younger, before they build their self-confidence, they are definitely afraid of what their friends think of them and who they're dating or who they like.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying.
I think we have to distinguish between how big you're talking. The truth is most people are overweight, and most people are, not that it's okay, but most people are dating overweight people. Like, you know what I mean? So I think that's what you were trying to say, Cannon.
That's what I was saying. Like most people are not even in shape, especially over 30.
I agree with him. I think in theory, I first of all, I think everybody settles. Let's just put that out there. I think everybody settles. I don't think no one is just going around meeting.
You settle?
Huh?
You settle?
I settle, but I grown to love you. So, I'm just saying that because when you got the checklist, you're going to look for the person. You got your list, right? I don't think no one is just going around meeting that perfect person, right? Whether it's mental, looks, or whatever the case may be. So, so you're going to settle. You're going to be like, okay, I'm going to take the good with the bad or whatever. And I don't think majority of women, I think they do look for the tall, dark, and handsome. And I think majority of men do look for the nice, curvy bodies. Now, if we find a woman that's little bit bigger than what we desire, but she meets all those other check marks, I think we will be like, okay, cool. So you're going to see some guys with bigger women. You're going to see some women with shorter guys. That's just how it's going to be. But in theory, I think no one is going around looking for the person that they don't desire. So I think it is equivalent, like what he said. Like I think women look for the taller guys, but they, like you said, you're not going to get them. Every woman can't get all the tall guys, so some women have to take the shorter guys, and all the men can't get the curvy women, right? So you got to take what you can get.
You said curvy, you didn't say thin.
Curvy, thin, what?
See, that's big is really just like abnormal, like bigger than what is considered normal. So like
I was going to say.
But in reality,
being fat has never stopped me from has never stopped a man from taking me on a date. It ain't never stopped a man from trying to holler. So all this hoopla on the internet about what being on the internet and you ain't getting no saying, it's just baffling to me because in public.
I have
y'all
to be
don't stop
honest.
opening doors. Y'all don't stop buying my lunch, but y'all hate fat women on the internet. It is so
What she's
insane.
saying.
It's quite insane. I'm in the gym.
Most of my
y'all don't want to
friends,
stop offering to take the weights off the bar, but on the internet,
Everybody
we
has
don't
a
like
group.
fat women. Well, y'all need to do a better job of faking, because I'm telling you, y'all be lying.
But
I
that's the
mean,
thing.
she ain't lying.
No,
She ain't
she's not.
lying. Like
Everybody has a group, right? Even people with eczema or the albino people, they have a group that loves them. So everybody has a group that loves them, and the group, you're gonna attract your group, right? So I'm not saying nothing's wrong with a short person, tall person, bigger person, or none of that. Everybody has their group. So you of course you're gonna get people that love you and like you and want to talk to you. That's no one is not going in this world not liked by at all, right? Nobody. So
Yeah.
you know,
But let's be honest, it's all dependent on the options a person has. Like, if you find a man like an athlete or a rapper or something, or a rich man, usually don't see rich men with like big fat women or whatever. They're usually with smaller women because they have more options. No different than the opposite of like a curvy or smaller women usually get like, you know, the richer guys. So kind of like that inverse thing. So I think it's a lot of it is dependent on options. And like Darwin said, like, settling, even though nothing's wrong with like settling, it's just having reasonable expectations based on whatever factors, pluses and minuses you have, and that's okay. Like, you know, we all can find that love, we all can find that somebody, but really it's just about managing expectations. And you know, if you are bigger, don't expect like the perfect guy, or if you know, if you're not rich or whatever, don't expect like the model girl, or you know, stuff like that. And I'm not saying those are just the two things, but it's really just based off that.
I think it's based off socioeconomic status more than anything else. It's like where you were raised, what you believe in. Some people, it's not even about, they don't think that you're ugly because you're big. It might be like they're just into fit because they care about health. It could be a variety of things. And I feel like the more education and money a person has, your taste can change based on your education and your economic status. It really does.
Because if you grew up in Atlanta and went to Chicago, you wouldn't date nobody in Chicago.
Nobody. No.
Or South Beach. You lived on Miami.
That's rough.
California. You lived in Hollywood. You growing up around these people who take care of their bodies because they want to have this certain image, or with the plastic surgeries. So you're looking at that all the time, and so naturally that's what your eye is going to be. Your eye is going to be trained to want to like, right? So. Like you said, social economics and stuff like that, where your location and stuff like that. So I mean,
it determines
that's why I said where I grew up. I grew up on the south side of Chicago in the hood, and I did not grow up wealthy or rich or any of those things. So most people is out of shape and overweight, like I said. So and they're all dating each other and like marrying each other. So
right,
that's cool.
So you came up.
You date what you're around.
You came up, babe. Lucky you.
All right, Steven, did you have any last thoughts or questions?
No, I was just listening to the conversation. I do feel like that it's more acceptable on one side. You know, like I said, I think it's constantly stated, like in the manosphere and the black manosphere, how when men, do have preferences, it's stated as, hating women or as an insecurity. So I just think it's really interesting how, one gender is able to state loudly, especially like with height, and then, light skin, dark skin. I've been hearing that all my life. So,
how tall are you, Steven?
What?
I want to know. I know y'all want. How tall are you, Steven?
I am 5'9".
He made it. He made it.
You so crazy, Steven. But what I was gonna say to respond to what you said about one group having a preference and to be seen as bashing and all this, especially in the context that you brought up as in the manosphere. I don't think that's the issue. I think that the issue is that so much time is spent actually bashing people that you say that you don't want. Like, I don't see a large group of women just running around like, oh, these short men, like, oh, I hate short, like doing all of that. Like, okay, it's one thing for them to be saying, oh, I want a tall man, but I don't really see them running around dedicating a lot of time and energy to complaining about how many men are short. And like,
because short men is handling business.
I think he's saying like the pushback against like smaller women, like the Lizzo complex thing, and like women bashing men for liking smaller women and saying like, you know, just talking shit. I think that's what he's more so talking about.
Here's what I think. So personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with a man wanting a smaller woman. If that's what he wants, that's what he wants. I actually think that it's perfectly reasonable for a man to want a woman who's in shape too. I think in our community, and I'm guilty of it too, you know, we don't always take the best care of our bodies, right? Inside and out, you know. And we got to do better. I agree with that. And I don't see anything wrong with a man wanting a woman who takes care of her body and a woman who's smaller, you know, if that's just what he wants. You know, I don't see anything wrong with preference. I think we as women have to make sure that we are not attacking people for their preferences. I also think the Black manosphere needs to understand that there is a level of shame that comes with your expression of what you want. You know, when you're calling women out of their names, that's me.
Yeah, because I mean, if you like fit women, why are you spending time sharing pictures and videos of Lizzo?
And not only
for what? But and it's one lady. I don't understand how she got a hold on them like this. Good Lord.
I think that you know, also we have to understand, like, not that it's okay, but I think women, period, are sensitive about our weight. So, like, anytime you're gonna bring up a woman's weight, you know, especially if you don't have a relationship with her. Now, I'm a little different. A guy can tell me, you know, and they have. The guy that I was telling y'all about, he told me, because he met me when I was real small, and, you know, I'm bigger now, you know, and so he's honest with me. Like,
I wish a Negro would.
And I receive that, but I have a relationship with him too. So it's like, you know, I can receive it. But you could be married to somebody for 20 years. That woman, if you say something about her weight, she gonna be in her feelings.
But Ashley, I think that there is a difference too. But Ashley, think about even when you have like your Rick Rosses, your DJ Khaled, you know, Fat Joe, like all these dudes running around with all this fat hanging all off everything, no shirts on, whatever.
And the men ain't blame them for nothing.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like a weird fixation. Like, I don't.
Because what's more important to women?
Lizzo need a whole movement.
No.
Yeah.
My thing is, what I run into, especially lifting heavy, I can out deadlift these men, I can out squat these men, and they will still up here and tell me, y'all be out of shape. Nigga, I'm stronger than you. What are you talking about? Who's out of shape in this situation? I run faster than you, I run longer than you, but you're telling me because your belly is out here and you technically at 190, you're in better shape. Y'all be lying to yourselves.
But how much you deadlift?
275.
Yeah. How long you run?
Oh, I mean, I run 40 minutes on the treadmill altogether.
Okay.
I mean, y'all can meet me at LA.
I'm just trying to figure
I'm the
out
fastest fat girl on the treadmill every day. So I mean, I'm trying to understand all this bullshit about out of shape.
Yeah.
Well, hold on,
it's not even about being in and out of shape, though. It's not even about that. It's just about size and look. Like, it's the optics of it all, and it's really
exactly.
Yeah.
Say it's your aesthetic, but don't come over here. You ain't been in the gym since 2019, telling me about being out of shape.
Before my wife, I had
no muscle definition.
But is that the norm, though? Is that the norm, Mrs. Understanding, Raven? Is that the norm, though?
Is what the norm?
Is it the norm for a woman, let's say, I don't know what your size is, but let's say you're 200 plus, is that, or even a man, like, is that the norm to be in shape? Like, you're in shape, right? I've seen you at work, and you're right. I'm sure you could, you know, beat these guys who are saying that you're fat, you're overweight, and all this stuff. But is that the norm? Like, aren't you?
No, like I said, if that's the conversation, like when you said women are sensitive about their weight, not over here, we can have the conversation, because if I can look at you at 190 and 80 of that pounds is constipation and beer, I don't want to hear nothing about in shape. Because now it's about aesthetic. You don't even care about your own health. Get out of my face.
No, but I want to
Hold on,
say
let's
real
Steven
quick.
say something, then Cannon,
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, lifting heavy weights to me is great, but I know a lot of fat guys that are power lifters that can lift a lot of weights. Like, I feel like being in shape is about the optics. You're gonna see the results of being fit or not.
Yeah, but I think that's what Raven's saying. Just be honest about it. Yeah.
Yeah, the words are just misused.
I understand that, but
well, being in shape is not about the optics. For one, it's definitely not about the optics, because some people are born just bigger bone than other people. So you can't sit up here and say a person that's 240 is not in shape compared to a person that's like 130. If a person can do more than you, lifting weights, endurance, cardio, all that, and they don't have any health problems, then I'm pretty sure that they're in better shape than you. Like, it doesn't matter how big they are.
But we're arguing
I
semantics.
do laps every Saturday. I do the pool laps. I do
Wait, hold
the
on.
laps. It's the same thing. Men are in the pool. Oh, how you swim faster than me? How you swim longer than me? Because I'm in better shape than you. Yeah, but you so voluptuous.
Because someone can
I'm still in better shape to you.
You can
I
go
don't agree with
300
that.
pounds,
Only because
go get plastic surgery, get all that cut off, and so what? That means you're in shape now? No, that's not how that works.
Exactly, and that's my point. When you brought up South Beach,
all this body sculpting and stuff, those women and those men are not in shape. They just have a nice look now. That doesn't mean they're in shape. So
that's what they're talking about is look. We're arguing semantics here. They might be using the term wrong, or people are using the term wrong, but they're just talking about looks. So I think that's what we're saying.
And that's what my thing. If it's about looks, say it's about aesthetic. Don't come over here with this whole health crisis. And come on now.
What I was gonna say too, Rashad, to your point, what you said when I said like the bigger guys who run around looking crazy and don't nobody have nothing to say to them, and you were saying it's about money. I think that's where y'all be shooting yourselves in the foot, because like I keep saying time and time again, I think that's why so many men now are having such a difficult time understanding that women don't have to go get with some out of shape dude that they're not attracted to get money now. By and large, you do have some women who are after that and who are gold diggers and stuff like that. You always gonna have those, but by and large, you do not have this large society of women who are, just looking to be taken care of financially or need a man financially, so they're gonna forego other attributes from the man that they care about. And I think that's why y'all having such a hard time, because I don't think the average woman is out here like, as long as he got money, I don't care what he look like. Like, no, we're like, we got our own jobs, we got whatever. We want to be attracted to you. We want to be attracted to you. We want you to have a good personality. We want other things. We don't need you to make sure we eat. We don't. We got our own food. We got our own money. Whatever. What else you got? And I think that's why y'all be getting so confused now, because it's 2021 and it's not like, well, because the women just want the money. Like, no, stop going after gold diggers.
It's not that rudimentary, but I think it's fair to say, and we can all agree that women value men for their resources, their ability to provide more than men value that from women. So that's the thing. Women
not in 2021, sir. Most households are dual income.
Yeah, that's how it is. But I'm saying what one values.
How much you got? How much I got? Let's figure this out.
Yeah, I'm talking about what one values though.
All right, let's Steven say
this. I just want to say one thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let Steven say what he wants to say so I can get him. Wait, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. No, I was just going to say, I hear what Candy's saying as far as all those points. I think that was one of the issues with the transition with feminism. And I don't think modern women, I think there's a difference between societal expectations and primal expectations. And I think for the large part, women still held on to a lot of their primal expectations. So, if you say you can go out and work and make as much as a man, then, there shouldn't be as much on a man's back when he goes out. He can't earn much if he's able to work now. But, I think the primal nature of women is still they want to provide her someone who's better than them or who can make more. So.
Nah, that's y'all, bro.
I agree with you.
I'm sorry, that's y'all. In my experience, a lot of, like I said, you have a subset of women who are what you want to call quote unquote gold diggers or who doing all of that other things, but average women are not doing that. And I think that what I see more so in average women, you say the women are having a hard time adjusting. No, I think a lot of women look for men who are self-sufficient or who do earn more than them, more so because of that man's ego, not because they scared that he not providing enough, especially if they have everything that they need. Is that a lot of times we do live in a society where men feel emasculated if they aren't earning, if they're out earned by their women. Like they've done study after study that show that men whose woman earns more than them cheat more because now they feel like they got to be a man in other ways. Like I got to go do this because. So I think that's what affects women. Is that they have a lot of experiences at times if they're dating a guy that feels intimidated or bothered by the fact that they make more money than them, they have a hard time adjusting.
Quick story.
Hold on, Darwin. Real quick. I was in the club. I was in the app Clubhouse room, and they had a whole room where all these women coming on the Clubhouse stage talking about. The room was, would you date a man who makes the average salary in America, which is for a black man, which is $41,000 a year, and that was a whole issue. And every woman that got on stage was like, "No, I wouldn't." He was like, what if he had a good heart? What if he did that? Blah, blah, blah. And this is all coming from women. I wouldn't. He don't make enough. Blah, blah, blah. And
Why did they say though?
Because they want to either they want to be stay-at-home wives, either because they want to provide for the children. They want to be more traditional. They want to take care of the household, and they want the man to work. Or they feel like the man should make at least as much as they make, which might be $70,000, $80,000.
But why did they say that they feel like he should make just as much?
Why?
Because they want to stay home, and then
So every woman has different reasons, but the reasons.
Hold on, Steven, 1 second.
But the reasons were things like they want the man to at least make as much as they make because they feel like that's only fair, or they want them to make over 6 figures so that they can stay home and properly raise their kids, homeschool their kids, et cetera, take care of the household. Or they just feel like if the man's not making more than they are, then they're not a man. Some of the reasons were silly and some of them had a lot of content to it. So, but the point is a lot of women were expecting a man to make a sufficient amount of money, more or at least equal to what they were making.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, I think the biggest reason behind it is being ignored. And like I said, in my experience, it's because men have a hard time. You just gonna ignore that whole part. So you're gonna say that men don't have a hard time with women who make out earn them. They do, and women know that. So women, so who's gonna sit there and continue to subject themselves to situations where they have to keep trying to downplay themselves and be like, I gotta make sure he feel like a man, like all the time. No, you're gonna be like, no, I just need somebody who make as much as me because I ain't even deal with all of that.
Okay, Steven, what were you saying? Go ahead.
No, I think it's natural that women start losing respect for a man once he earns less than her. You know, unless you got it channeled in that you're not worried about that, you know, you're gonna be looking at that as a sign of what type of man you got. And I think that's something largely in the black community that we have to go on because of our financial and economic position.
So let me chime in on that because before I got married, I was making more money than my wife. I had 2 jobs, you know, military income and all this, right? So when I decided to move, I wasn't working anything. And she was making more money than me for years. I had friends, you know, and they was asking me like, you don't, man, how you a stay-at-home dad? You don't mind your wife making more money than you and X, Y, Z and blah, blah, blah. And how you feel about that? And my response was, I don't feel nothing about it because she still respected me as a man. We never had money issues. I did my part. I actually helped us save more money than spend more money because we had a kid and daycare cost so much. So it's all about the top that like we got to stop looking at these little groups of women and thinking that's the all of that. Like, of course you got your gold diggers, you got your broke women too. And most of the time those broke women that wants this man that has all this money, right? So it's not too many of these broke women, and it's quite the way I look at it, it's more broke men than broke women.
Well, let me go back to the facts. Let me go to some facts, okay? So I think, first off, Kevin Samuel's show and similar depictions of men and black women and how they interact with each other is very misleading, okay? if you watch the Kevin Samuels show, everybody that calls into the show is a woman that wants a man that makes at least 6 figures. But that's kind of like asking, oh, well, why does everybody who go into the candy store want candy? Like, why does everybody who walks into Home Depot want home stuff? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, that's what they go there for. So you can't use that as a representation of all women. The truth of the matter, like the facts are that average women date and marry average men. Most Black women date and marry men who are average earners, and the men make more than them. Most Black men make more. I'm talking about most. Okay.
But did you know that Black women were the only group that generally marry men who earn less than them out of other groups of women who marry? They generally marry men who earn about the same.
Those are women. So those are women who have gone to college and who have professional careers. We tend to marry men who make less money. Okay. And that makes sense because most Black men, this is not shade to Black men. This is just stats. Most Black men don't attend college. Most Black men are at like 42, around the 42K. So if you push yourself out of that range and you're a higher earner, chances are you will marry somebody as a Black woman who makes less than you. But most Black women marry men who make a little bit more than them, slightly more than them. So that brings me back to what Stephen was saying. To me, it's perception. For him to say, oh, Black women don't, respect Black men when they make less. I think that is perception. I don't think that's true. Most of us are very well acclimated to marrying a man who makes more and they're average earners. So that's the average Black family. So I think when men say that, a lot of times it's coming from experience. Like I've heard men say they had some girl who was dogging them out or treating them less than. Sometimes they feel less than. I've experienced this myself where, like, I don't know if I don't want to tell too much, but where it's like they want you to be happy, but they don't want you up here. They want to make sure that they can stay here and you can stay there.
That's what I was gonna ask. That's what I wanted to.
But it's perception to sit here and be like, oh well, yeah, we don't get no respect because we only make this amount of money. That's not even what reality is saying.
But that's kind of what I wanted to ask them, because the conversation always centers around saying women want this, women want this, women want this, right? I just need them to tell me as men. Yeah. Do you know men out here who are clamoring to be like, "Ooh, I want a woman who make more than me. Ooh, she make more than me." How do men feel about women who out earn them?
Yeah. I don't mind at all. That's just motivation for me.
Tony, I already know what you're gonna say, but I'm saying in general.
Okay, not this man.
Not you in particular. I'm saying the general consensus of men out here, especially who are earning maybe those 40K earners. Okay. How do those men perceive, or are they going to treat women who out earn them? Do they have confidence? No.
But men don't really value that. Men don't really value that as much. Like, that's just not something.
No, that's okay. Okay, no, pause before you go into that. That's fine, right? I'm not asking you whether or not they value it. I'm asking you to tell me, in your experience with the men you're around, the men you see, or if a man making $30,000 a year, $40,000 a year, how is he with the women who are earning substantially more than he is? Would you say that those men are confident men to be going after women like that, or to be in relationships with women like that?
I would say it's. I don't have any experience with it, but I would say that it's like what Tony said. It's dependent on the woman, how the woman makes the man feel, how the woman treats the man, the respect she shows.
I think that is contingent, just like my husband said, on how they friends and how the society and how other people make them feel. You ain't doing nothing. Why you ain't doing it? And then they feel in some kind of way about themselves, right? Because they feel like they're supposed to be the breadwinners.
I think we should listen to what we hear women say. And that's just what they're saying.
But it's not just women who are saying it. I'm telling you.
We just went through this. with the arbitrary things, right? It doesn't matter what women saying. The fact of the matter is they still settling with men that don't make, it's not 6-figure men. That's the bottom line of it. Women can say, I want a man that makes this much money, but in reality, they're not getting that man. That's just how it is. And on the flip side, men can say that they want a woman that don't want to work, that I don't want my woman to work and this XYZ, but guess what? They're with a woman that's working and splitting half the bills. That's reality. Unless you're talking about some Hollywood and celebrities and stuff like that, when with the rich people, but that's not everyday people. Everyday people are with average people, and the man is making money and the woman is making money, and that's just how it is. Now,
but what reality really is, we're talking about marriage, but only like 75% of us aren't married. So we can say that this is what it is, but the average black person isn't married. So if we're talking about everybody, it possibly is a dynamic problem with if black women make more money on average than black men.
What about this marriage? What's this marriage stuff got to do with it?
That's what we're talking about.
Marriage?
Yeah, y'all. You guys gave on marriage.
So you have to be married in order to be with somebody? I thought we were just talking about couples, like people that's together. Like, because if you share a household with somebody and you're not married, are we talking about those people too, or just married?
But I mean, how common is that? Like a lifelong partnership?
I think that's way more common than you think. A lot of people get engaged and never get married, and they play house for a long time. So, I mean, everybody I know, I think I have like maybe 4 married friends, and the rest of them are living together with kids, and they're not married. And that's just normal now. No, everybody's not getting married like back in the days. I mean, that's reality. Like, it's a lot of marriages is just not happening like that. People
I guess
building lives together and buying houses together and living with each other and not married.
I wasn't just talking about in terms of being married or whatever. I'm just saying in general. And I guess, like I say, I don't understand, or I have a question for you, Rashad, is why I say, why do we leave out of the conversation? Because I mean, I'm fine having the entire conversation. Like I say, we could talk about the gold diggers, right? We could talk about the women who want to be traditional. We could talk about the modern one. We could have a 360 conversation that encompasses all of the things. I guess what I'm asking is, why is one of the pieces that's getting left out of the conversation that men a lot of times do feel emasculated on their own, not because a woman did it, if they earn less? Why are we leaving that part out of the conversation?
Those guys are just weak. They're weak-minded guys. It's simple as that. You know, this is the population of guys that don't feel comfortable with women making more, because they have some type of issue with it. It's just as simple as that.
Well,
I mean, I don't think there's any issue there.
And also,
but don't you think that's a societal thing, because it's seen that men are supposed to be the breadwinners, and when that does not happen, that then they feel like they're not fulfilling that role that is assigned to them.
Yeah, possibly.
And that
they know
issues.
They know they didn't reach their full potential, because here they is with their partner's making more. They feel like they should be doing more. They know they could have, and for whatever reason, they didn't do it. And so they feel a certain way about it. You know what I mean?
I guess so. So what I'm saying is, so when we're talking about what women desire or what women are choosing to date, why do we leave that aspect out of the conversation as well? That could also be a reason. Because like I say, I know for me, like what my husband said, one of the things that I'm really appreciative about from him is that he doesn't behave that way. But in general, no, I would not be out here actively seeking a man who earns less than me, because in my experience, you have to do too much to make yourself smaller to make them feel okay. Because like he said, maybe another guy wouldn't have been able to handle that as much, you know, like your wife earns more than you, and then they got to just go out of their way to try to prove all of these other things in other ways. And so it's like, no, I don't want to deal with that. And it's not because I naturally want a man to make more than me. Like, I'm very successful. I'm good over here. But what I'm saying is that what I don't want to have to do is make myself smaller to make you feel bigger.
I think you're talking more.
My mindset, not because I'm a woman and I just want a man to make more than me and it's natural. No, it would be because I don't want to deal with your friends.
I think you're speaking more idealism versus reality. And I feel you, like the way you're talking, that's how it should be, and we should strive towards that. But the reality is, this is what it is, and this is what it's always historically been. Men have.
It has not always historically been that.
How is it not?
Kenny, to your point,
if I
Kenny,
can,
to your point, I just want to say one thing real quick.
I'm on mute.
To your point, Kenan, I feel like it's not discussed as much as we would like it to, but I feel like women phrase it in a different way. A lot of times they just say, these weak ass men out here, weak men. I hear that a lot, and that's what they're referring to when they say that. So I don't feel like it's not discussed, it's just packaged in a more derogatory way. You know what I mean? Versus getting to the root of the issue.
And I think we got to look at how over time, when you are a certain age, you know, I see some of the 20s and 30 something dating now, you know, the 20s. And when you 20, 21, 22, you know, my values were different from when, you know, now that I'm, you know, 40, you know, a woman of a certain age. Like, you know, people's values and what they prioritize, they change over time as they age. You know, that's the other part of the conversation that we need to have. Growing up where I did grow up, you know, a lot of pretty much, I would say maybe more than half of the people I graduated from high school with, and I come from a small rural area in Georgia, you know, because my beef is a lot of times they do these numbers based on urban areas. Nobody comes out to the country to count us, but that's a whole nother conversation. A lot of us who live in rural America, a lot of us are married, and we're married, and our grandparents were married, or we had aunts and uncles if mom and dad were not married. Like where I'm from, a lot of Black people are married. A lot of Black people marry average men and women, and a lot of Black people have 2-income households. Those who are white and who are married where I'm from, I do have a couple of you know, white female classmates. They don't have to work. Their job is to take care of the kids, educate the kids. I come from a farming community, and a lot of the land, and we talking thousands of acres, they're owned by white males. So their white wives don't have to work. Versus with, you know, in Black communities, I come from a community of a lot of people who they're educators. They work in either admin for education. Their spouse, like, you know, the husband might be the principal, the spouse might be a first grade teacher, you know. So I'm hearing what some of, you know, what you're saying, but growing up, this is what I saw. I think environment has a lot to do with it, because we were taught to value certain other things when it comes to men. And I think in general, when, you know, women say, oh, I want a man who takes care of me, I'm thinking about how I was raised. It was much more, you know, a man who maintains the outside of a house, a man who, you know, he makes sure the cars are straight, he makes sure the yard is straight. You know, these are things that were instilled in me early, you know. So I think over time, you know, as you grow older, your values start to change. You know, I'm 19, 20 years old, just like we said earlier, all dark and handsome. But then as I got older, it's like, oh, I would like a guy who does this, or a guy who knows how to do this. And I started to see, you know, people like my granddad, my uncles, or whoever. I started to say, oh, I see how they treat my aunts. I see how my granddad treats my grandma, whatever. I want something like that, you know. I as I got older, I saw the bigger picture, you know. And I think in terms of the manosphere, and I think I've asked this question again on this show before, and I haven't gotten an answer yet. When they talk about Black women needing to be more accountable about, you know, who they're dating, men they're picking, etc., which Black women are you talking about? Because where I'm from, I'm surrounded by women who are accountable. You know, if you want to deem it that. Where I'm from, a lot of Black women are married, and they have kids, and the men are leading the households, but it's also a 2-income home. So, you know, I think, you know, based on what you guys are saying, you know, it depends on the age of the person that you're dating. You know, I see a lot in the manosphere in terms of men who are of a certain age. They want to date younger women thinking that, oh, well, you know, I can vet her, train her how to take care of me, etc. But then you got to think about it. You got a female who's like 21, 22 years old. What she values today versus when she turns 35, 40 years old, it's probably going to change. It's probably going to be different over time. You know, so, you know, I just want to throw that out there that, you know, our values change over time, whether it be age, experience, or what have you.
Yeah. And then Kenan, I also want to add just from what you said, I think it's important to understand like just what men are expected to do and be just societal, whether it's good or bad. We are raised or, you know, just believed by seeing media, TV, movies that we are supposed to be providers, regardless of any pressure from anyone else. That's kind of just how we're, as a man, that's like what we're supposed to be. So
it's
we feel that
societal
energy.
pressure.
Yeah,
Societal pressure.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's wrong or right, but that's how a lot of men feel.
Yeah.
And so when
That's
we
what I'm saying.
feel that, when we have that pressure on ourselves already, and then we also hear women co-signing it, again, whether it's good or bad, we feel that pressure too. What you're doing, you know, speaking on the situation with you and your husband, that is great, but that is different from what the norm is, from what we normally hear. We normally don't hear women say that or be okay with that. Again, this doesn't make it okay, but this is how it is. But I am with you about promoting something different, because that would make it better.
See, let me put it this way. I'll also just talk about from my experience. Because like I say, I grew up on the South Side of Chicago. I'm gonna keep saying it, right? I didn't grow up, you know, where these gold diggers are and all this other stuff. Well, I grew up seeing a lot of Black women, especially who earned more than men a lot of times, than the men that they were with, because we do have a socioeconomic situation where a lot of those men have records, they're in prison, like a lot of different things going on. So I've seen women taking care of men my whole life growing up. So what I'm saying is we got this, I don't know what this thing is, was like, because it used to be like that. No, but what I'm saying is because there is a pressure in society that tells a man he has to present this one particular way. He has to fit in this box, right? You have to earn this, you have to do this, or else you're not a man. And so what I'm saying is that a lot of times when you're hearing, especially now in my age group and things like that, what I've seen growing up with women who were taking care of men, right? Who were looking out for them, whatever, those men were feeling emasculated by the simple fact that those women were taking care of them. Not because the women did it, but because they felt like they were less than a man. So you saw certain behaviors and certain things that you like, I'm gonna be dealing with that. Like, so I have to also work hard and then take care of your ass, and you mad at me for it? I'm not doing that. You see what I'm saying? So what I just don't know this idea where it's like because women, da 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 da. It's like, no, what I'm saying is that we have to do some adjusting. Right. And this is why I keep saying the whole conversation frustrates me so much when I hear like, well, men don't care about how much a woman earns, but the average Black man will only ever make 40K a year. Well, if you're only gonna ever make 40K a year and you're trying to have a family, then you need to care about what a woman earns. That makes no sense. Where's the forethought? What are you thinking about? You so busy being like, I got a penis, so I don't care what she makes. What?
I don't think it's that. I don't think
the best man impression ever. She has the best man impression. Because I feel like that's my inner thought. When I think about stuff, that's my canon voice. What I'm gonna eat today? It's gonna be cereal. Nah, I ain't gonna do that. Go back to sleep. I think just like that. Like, damn, she got it down.
but I'm just saying, like, it's definitely got to be some balance. I'm not saying that there's no truths in the things that are being discussed, because a lot of times when you have stereotypes or you have these general conversations, there's going to be some threads of truth in it. But I just feel like the narratives being spun is just like, those are not the conclusions. Like that, it just doesn't make any sense.
So I'm going to take what you say, and would you say that because men have this expectation, even from ourselves, from society, to have that, should women to basically kill this societal norm? Should women, I guess, quote unquote, deal with that? And I guess, I mean, because men have egos, we're sensitive too. Stroke our egos until that societal norm is almost eliminated. Because that maybe, I mean, I'm just throwing stuff out there. That may be what it takes. Like, it has to be abnormal until it becomes normal.
Yeah, I guess that's what I was saying. Like, me personally, no, I don't feel like being out here trying to soothe your ego. I'm not about to be out here busting my ass, working hard, being successful, and then plus I got to make myself little and small just so I could stroke your ego to make you feel better. Like, to me, that's silly. You're not a puppy. No.
Now,
Rashad, okay, Darn. Yeah.
Rashad, I agree with you though, because on a before I got with my wife, she was well aware I was with a woman who she had money, and she did tend to try to, talk down on me and say things, and I was just looking like, that's not how you're supposed to be talking to me. So there are women out there that will try to degrade a man that's not making as much as them and things of that nature, and try to emasculate you and stuff like that. So it is going on. I totally agree with you. It is going on, but it's that's just like a small group of women that's doing that though. I mean, and I'm just glad that I was able to find my wife, so I wouldn't be had that thought in my head that that's how women are when they're successful and stuff like that. So if I would have when I got my wife, I would have probably been thinking just like the rest of the men, like when women get money and this and that, they degrade men. I would have been thinking like that. But since I had the opportunity to actually date a woman that made money and try to degrade me, and then I married a woman that made money and she didn't do it. So on the flip side, it just depends on who you pick, and you know.
But babe, I think that the biggest difference though is that we were friends first and we knew each other first. So I think you had a different level of trust with me, right? Where you didn't act a certain way either. Is what I'm saying. You know what I'm like? You have to look at both aspects of it. I don't feel like you came into it with all that ego even in the first place.
Nah, I didn't have ego with her neither. I played the broke role. I liked what she was doing, so I fed into it. I was liking all the gifts and all of that. So no, it wasn't ego. I was very humble.
He said the broke role. I love it.
Yeah.
And I just think it's about value. I mean, I met my husband when I was 18. I think he was 20, he was 22, 23 years old. We were both in college. You know, it wasn't no, are you a high value man? Or it wasn't no, you know, do you make whatever. It was us, you know, me, both of us eating off my meal plan. It was us. You know, it was him paying for certain things because he was able to pay because he made a little bit more in his part-time job. Sometimes I just think that when people are dating nowadays, their priorities are all screwed up. Like I just, you know, people and women, let me get close to the camera. Sisters, don't shoot me when I say this, okay? But I'm just gonna say it. Like, we get so focused on like what just like these societal stuff and then social media is messing it up, especially for these young women who are in their 20s, you know, dating. We get you know, I wasn't thinking about, you know, is he gonna buy me a bag when I was in college? We weren't thinking about that. We were thinking about what kind of life can we create together. Like we live in what we dreamed about back then. And I mean, we real humble folks, you know, got a kid, got a dog, got a house, you know, we work every day. We play hard when we do play hard. And I'm not saying that because somebody said earlier, oh, you know, everybody settles. Well, I think I settled for exactly what I wanted. You know, I think that priorities, stuff that people think is so important, and then they get to like that 2-year or 5-year mark in marriage. I don't know why it didn't work. Well, I mean, you got caught up on what kind of shoes he had on, like the first year y'all were dating. Or, you know, you got caught up on the fact that he wouldn't wear matching outfits for y'all Instagram photos, you know, in year 3. Or you got caught up on, you know, he didn't want to hang out with this particular friend. All these little minute things that can easily, you know, it's not about, I think people get caught up in, I didn't get what I want. And it's like, when you're in a relationship, if that's what you're looking for, you ain't gonna get what you want all the time. I've been married for 17 years. Let me tell you, I can write a book on the stuff that didn't go my way, but I'm still here. You know, I'm still here. You got people all on the internet. I get John at least 3 or 4 times a year about, oh, y'all think longevity make y'all all that. And it's just like, what do you mean when you say that?
Should have been like,
longevity is a value. That's a priority. That's important. I signed up for something that I want to make last. Like, what's wrong with that? You know? Like, it's just people's priorities are so messed up. And I hear, and like I said, it's not me getting on the sisters, because there are guys, they prioritize the wrong things too. But I think a lot of times you do have a lot of guys out here.
Yeah, we do. We definitely do.
Yeah. You have a lot of guys out here now where they're like, that don't really matter to me. This is what I need. You know, I married one of the most simple guys I've ever met in my life. And my husband don't have a list of things that he desire and need out of our relationship. Unlike his wife, but I own it, you know, that I want certain things to go a certain way. But what I had to learn being married this long is that this ain't Burger King. You ain't gonna have it your way. And you need to find a way to deal with that if you want to stay married. That's just it. You know?
Yeah. I do want to say, though, I think there are a few things at play here. I think that there's a narrative that, you know, we as Black women put too much emphasis on finances. Now, obviously, there are lots of young girls, especially, and maybe older women too, who place too much emphasis on those things, or they place emphasis not on financial intelligence and growth, but on appearances, like what you're talking about, Jobo. They are equating well-being and wealth and finances, or being in a good position, with things that they see, like the shoes, the car, the things like that. And so they got it all wrong, right? Um, but I think a couple things need to happen. Those women need to understand that appearances are just that. You can have money and not be wealthy. You can have money and could be here today, gone tomorrow. Like, so you're getting yourself in a situation where it might not even be stable. Maybe this guy got some money now, but does he know how to use it? Does he know how to manage it? Is he smart? Does he know how to invest? Like, those things are important. And so I think women have to understand that it's not about just being rich. It's more so about a mindset. How are you with money? What's this man's relationship with money? Is he an investor? Is he a saver? Does he spend well? Like, what does he want to do with his money? Is he, those are the questions that need to be asked, and they're important questions. So, while there are some women who don't place the emphasis in the right places, I think there are also men who need to understand that finances are important. And just because you think that a woman is only concerned with finances does not mean that that's the only thing that she is looking for. Sometimes I think that when Black women say we want a man of a certain financial position, that's all men hear. Like, no, that's not the only thing that we hear. And then, a lot of guys will say,
Nope.
well, you wouldn't date this broke guy. But it's like, okay, wait a minute. I probably wouldn't. Well, it depends on the situation. Okay. Depends on the situation. 22, we all broke, right? Even at my age, 35, if you are going through a situation,
I was broke at 22.
If you are going through a certain situation, that's understandable. I've been
I'm
through
broke
hard
now.
times. I've been through hard times myself. But what I'm saying is, like, if you're not ready to start a family and you have a woman that's looking to start a family with somebody, finances are going to be important, and that is okay. And I don't know any man that would tell their daughter, "Oh, yeah, baby, go marry this man. He has no savings. He don't have a job right now, and he ain't had one in 8 months. He ain't had one in 2 years." Like, no man would say that to a woman.
But he can cook
I
and clean.
He's a
I
local
think
rapper.
we gotta stop trying to paint this narrative that Black women, we care too much about finances. No, we should care. Our wealth is the lowest, in this entire country. We are the lowest. We are at the totem pole. And I think that warrants another discussion about this $41,000 a year. If you look up, I was trying to pull up the chart, but yes, but I think white men make about 43,000 a year. Black men make about 41,000 a year. But compare wealth. You compare wealth. You can't just look at income.
Yep.
You have to look at wealth. So yeah, Black women. There's a lot, like the Black Manosphere had a lot of complaints about Black women in this survey, where a lot of Black women here reported caring more about finances than white women. Well, how could we not? We're literally at the bottom. Our families are at the bottom when it comes to wealth. So, it's not just about money. It's not just about income. It's what you do with your money. It's your investing, your savings. And I think all of that stuff is important. And I think we need to start trying to make Black women feel like we're asking for too much when we do want a guy who's at a certain level. Because here's the thing, let's be for real. How far is that 40? And I'm not knocking anybody working hard, okay? But how far is that going to take you and your family? How far is that going to take you? You got tuition, you got, child care, you got food, you got clothing, you got rent, you got gas, you got cars, you got, you got car insurance, you have health insurance.
But this just lets you know the majority of the families, how bad that they the conditions that they living in, they think is okay. Because like me and my wife talk about all the time, like what family, like we got private school we paying for, gymnastics, both my daughters in gymnastics, dance classes. So if you're only making $41,000 a year, your kids is really not experiencing pretty much nothing, you know. And it's a lot of people that's making that much money. So you got to think like, what are you really doing with your life? You know, and like you said, you can't knock nobody that's working hard, nothing like that. But $41,000 is not going to take you and your family a long way. Maybe it'll take you somewhere, but you trying to raise a family on $41,000. I mean, man, you can do it, but they be eating bologna sandwiches every day, and you know when they go to the store, they can't get a toy. It's just certain things that certain things that you can't do, and it's a lot of families that's living like that. So.
Yeah, and I'm not, but the thing is, I'm not knocking to say like, oh, if you make this amount, then you're less than or whatever.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Right.
what the point that I'm making is that you can't, that the same men who talking about they ever gonna only make 40K can't afford to, on the other hand, be saying they don't care how much their partner makes when she is also an earner, and you are gonna
Right.
have to depend on that income. That is just the reality of it. And I guess what I'm saying is that. With a lot of those conversations is what I'm saying. What frustrates me in that is that there does have to be a realization from some of these men that it is going to require more of a partnership mindset than this mindset that you thinking you're going to have this reality that I don't even think really ever existed, but that you're thinking did, where the men lorded over the woman and da-da-da, and I got to be this and I'm doing this, you know, and all of these things. Get it out of your head. It's okay. What I'm saying is that there are certain things, because at the end of the day, women are still by and large expected to do the largest share of household duties, child rearing, and things like that. So that has to be taken into account as well. If I'm a woman, and let's say I'm earning 80K a year, 100K a year, and I get with a dude that's making 40K, you think I'm gonna feel like pulling most of the financial weight, plus I'm gonna want to pull most of the weight at the crib? And that's not going to be a problem. You see what I'm saying? So it is. Well, what I'm saying is that the mindset has to shift. It has to be more of a partnership idea. Like, how do we get this unit, this family to where it needs to be? Not how do I get to be over you and you're under me and I do this and you. No, like what needs to be done? Okay, let's delegate. Who gonna do X, Y, Z? Okay, how do we put it together and build upon it? Not, I don't care what you make. It don't matter because I'm a man, even though I'm only making 40K. I'm the man. Like, what does that mean? I don't care.
See, I don't look at it like that. And I don't even really look at it as an over-under thing. I think and this could be more of a traditional thing, like traditional-minded men. It's not that we don't value provision. It's just not financial provision. It's like valuing, child rearing more, like, you know, taking care of the house more, stuff like that. That's just like what we naturally, at least mentally, I would say, value more.
No, I understand. So, but what I'm saying to you is that if you're a man who's earning 40K and you get with a woman that has twice your income, you're still going to expect for her to take on the bulk of the household and child rearing responsibilities. That's a lot. Yeah. You're not going to step up and say, okay, she's killing it over here, so let me pick up slack here, and it's okay.
That's because we didn't get them kitchen sets when we was kids.
Exactly. It's like we grew up with our mamas cooking, our moms cleaned, it's just like there's nothing like a woman's cooking. There's nothing like a woman's cleaning and organization.
I love these answers.
My husband keeps sticking his foot in some food. I'm just saying.
I live with somebody who grew up in the house where for a minute they were the only guy. You know, my husband got two sisters and a mom, and I'm always, the reality in my situation is that I do the majority of the housework. I do, you know, but I am my grandmother's child too. I think there is a way to reverence, because I call myself the traditional modern wife. There's a way to reverence your husband as the leader of your home without keeping score. Because if you keeping score, you're gonna lose your mind. Let me just put that out there. If we gonna talk real, let me just give y'all my experience that I've had to endure for many years. I stopped keeping score and we start asking each other what's going to be best for our family, especially when my daughter came along. You cannot keep score when the kids come along. Kids ain't looking at, at least at a certain age, they ain't looking at who doing the most. They looking at, are we going to eat at 7 o'clock? Am I going to get this for Christmas? Who going to take me to dance practice and who going to do this? Okay. And that's I look at my family as a team, and I gotta do what's best for the team. Do I get exhausted? Absolutely. Do I need to agree on who's gonna do what? Absolutely. But I think the other conversation is when people are entering these situations, marriages, long-term relationships, what have you, are they thinking about the amount of conflict resolution that they're gonna have to learn how to do in order to get stuff done? Because at the end of the day, we can sit here and take score about who did what and who shot John and who did this and who paid this and who did that. But I want to come home and I want to flick on the lights and I want them to come on. When I come home, I want everybody to have a warm meal. How it gets done, the semantics of things, you definitely can't keep score. I think sometimes, especially in latter generations, we get caught up on keeping score and who doing this and who doing that. And it's just like when you enter, at least when I got married 17 years ago, you enter in a team. You know, um, do we disagree on who does what? Absolutely. Like I told y'all, I'm married to somebody who grew up in the house with, literally 3 other women. So there's certain things. It's like I have to step back and say, nah, you can do that. Case in point, Tuesday nights. I've been sitting on this podcast for a little minute, and it's just like Tuesday nights. Mama ain't gonna be there to take the food off the stove and serve it to you guys. You guys got to figure it out. I don't know what y'all gonna do because I'm gonna be in here, but y'all got to figure it out. And it's like, okay, babe. But then when Saturday comes and he has to work extra long, or he has this and this going on, then it's a give and take. Just like he took care of dinner tonight and made sure everybody ate. Then guess what? Saturday, I'm gonna get up and fix breakfast. It's give and take. It really is. And if you don't see yourself giving and taking, don't get married.
It's all about the level of respect that you have for that other person too, right?
Exactly.
So
Absolutely.
If my wife's been working all day, she gets home about 7 o'clock. I'm not gonna sit around and wait for her to get dinner ready and get my daughter ready for school next. I'm just not about to do that.
Right.
That's just inconsiderate, and there's no respect that you have for what she had to do for your family, right? So if she's busting her butt all day, you have to respect what she's doing and give her credit and acknowledge what she's doing in the same way she acknowledges what I'm doing when she's at work. And I think a lot of men don't put a lot of emphasis on how hard it is, on how hard that housework is. Like that's a lot of work, and I've experienced it firsthand. Like I take my daughter to doctor appointments. I take her to the dentist. I take her to school. I go to parent-teacher conferences. I do all that.
Yep.
That's a lot of energy. That's a lot of work. My wife's out of town right now for work, and I'm with my daughter. I had to wake up early in the morning, 6 o'clock, get her ready for school. That's a lot of work, and I think a lot of men just don't respect how hard that is. So when a woman is tired, or they complain a little bit, or they vent how hard their day was, it just goes in one ear and out the other, right? Like, oh, that's what you're supposed to do. Yeah, then you're a woman. What's the problem? You know what I'm saying? Like, no, that's not what you're supposed to do. Especially if you got the time to help, you're supposed to help out. As a man, you just don't sit around and wait for the leaves to fall off the yard before you start doing housework, or wait for it to snow to start shoveling. You have to help her out all year round, or she will get drained. She will get start feeling unappreciated. And all that money that you making ain't gonna mean nothing once that happens.
Nope.
No, you can be bringing home $100,000, $200, $1 million. But once a woman gets drained and feels unappreciated and feels like she's not worth anything, that you can kiss that. It doesn't matter. She's just gonna leave with half of it now. She's just gonna leave you and take half because you. I mean, that's the reality of it, So
I want to plug in. I agree with Miss Jovo.
All right.
Sorry.
You go ahead and close us out. I actually did want to hear last thoughts really fast from our guest Tony, but go ahead, Raven. You go first, and then I'll have Tony close us out. Is that okay? All right.
I was just going to speak to effective communication. I think sometimes, like you said, Ms. Jovo, if you're a girl that had a lot of female influence, or you were raised to do all these things, and of course you're going to do them, and then naturally expect him to know, oh, you need to appreciate me for this, or see that I need to load off for this, versus just communicating with that. I know for my husband, he was pretty much an only child. And so I didn't know till we actually got married that he ain't never cleaned up before. Like, never. No dishes, no laundry, nothing. Like, this is, and we got married at a very young age. So he stayed, his mom cleaned up all these things. I didn't know that, we got married, he wasn't aware. But effective communication, because he's used to waking up and the house is just, it's back to normal. All the dishes are washed. All this is back in place. But like I told him, if I'm going to work a full-time job, you're going to wake up and it ain't going to happen no more, because I still got to rest, recuperate. I still got to cook the dinner, pack the meal preps, make your lunch, all these things. And so we had to have a talk. It's only so many hours in my day. You still want to do this. I still got to have energy to do that. So something's got to give. You want all your clothes washed. I put out his uniforms. You want that to stay your reality. I can't be at somebody else's job for 10, 12 hours a day, 7, 8 hours a day, and then you expect these things on the domestic end to stay the same. It's just not realistic. So that's all.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Tony,
I agree. No, I mean, I agree 100% with Misunderstanding and Darwin, because if Cannon's at work and Darwin has to pick up the slack, he does that. And it's just about being super considerate of your partner and allowing your partner to have whatever energy you need to bring to the table in order to sustain a relationship. So, even if that takes, one person working more than the other person, so that, or both people working a lot so that you can have extra help in the household. You might have a cleaner that comes to clean the house for you, so that alleviates that responsibility. And a cleaner for a house, I know, because I have cleaners for like Airbnb properties. So having somebody clean the house might cost $100, but you might make that real quick at the job, and it alleviates a lot of stress on your marriage, and it's worth it, because you're paying for you're paying for time. You know what I mean? You're trading money for time at that point. And I think time is the most valuable thing that you have in this world. So, in that regard, it's really cheap. So just do what you got to do to make your relationship work.
All right, squad. We are done for tonight. We had a really, really good talk. I enjoy hearing you guys. I really, really do.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you,
No
Rashad,
problem.
Darn, as usual, for joining us.
Thank you.
Everybody
Thank
who
you. Thank all of y'all for having me on.
All right. Y'all
Yes.
have a good night.
All right. Good night.
Good one.
Good night.